lap before. Yeah, everybody else was right out across the dashed white line.
Onto the brakes, into the hairpin, turn 1 at Tamar Park.
Nice and neat. Let's see what he does on exit, see if he does the same thing. No, right over the painted line, used all the road this time. Obviously didn't find what he wanted on his warm-up lap. There's some standing water just about the area he's passing right now. He's braking over those printed surfaces, watching for grabbing a wheel. You see the carbon brakes, the discs glowing inside the front wheels.
He's 2 tenths up on Roland in sector 1. Very good first sector from Gary Paffett.
Through 5, this is where we've seen a lot of oversteer, a lot of slides here, but Gary super neat, just kept it straight.
Stoffel Van Dorn is slightly quicker than Paffett in the first sector, so it looks at the moment as though Group 4 is the place to be, and these are the bottom 6 in the championship. Might be starting in the front of the Hong Kong E-PRIX.
Oh, that was a big snap out of turn 7, but so neat by Gary Paffett to the rest of the laps so far.
Paffett now towards the final couple of corners, another big slide. He's doing good after the first 2 sectors, cuts the timing beam. Paffett's fastest at 1 minute 12.093. Here comes Stoffel Van Dorn in the other HWA, coming through the left-hander of turn 10 in a couple of moments' time. Meanwhile, Jean-Eric Verne has had his lap time cancelled for causing the red flag a little bit earlier on in the session, so that affects Verne and drops him down the order. Van Dorn goes quickest, half a second quicker than Gary Paffett. Van Dorn, Paffett, the top 2. Who's coming next? Tom Dillman. He has gone 11th, so not that super for Tom Dillman.
Sam Bird out of Superpole.
Yeah.
Lucas de Grassi on the bubble.
Lopez, Nasser and Piquet are not having good runs at all. So Van Dorn and Paffett in the HWAs have proven their speed out there, that it's the best group of all, but Lopez only goes 14, Piquet only goes 15.
Oh, almost lost it again really late in the corner.
And Felipe Nasser in his second Formula E run. Is he a full power Nasser here? Because he's a long way off after the first 2 sectors. If he is, I know he's quite inexperienced. Yeah, he is at full power.
You will only see that he's at full power, and you'll only see the halo glowing when he gets to full throttle.
Yeah.
That'll show you how little he is actually at full throttle throughout the lap.
Nasser through the final corner, and he only goes 16th. So Van Dorn and Paffett take huge advantage of the drier part of Group 4 and have done a very impressive job. There's the confirmation. Jean-Eric Verne's lap time cancelled for causing the red flag. Van Dorn, Paffett, Roland, Mortara, Lotterer and de Grassi, the 6 drivers that will go through to Superpole. And there is the steward's room, race control. And there we go.
I think the conditions were maybe slightly better. They weren't that much better.
It's chucking it down now.
You've got to say congratulations. It absolutely is. But to Van Dorn and Paffett, they did a phenomenal job there. Really, really cracking. Yeah, it's raining a little bit now. Might need my umbrella.
So that's going to mix it up for the Superpole session.
And so it's more standing water.
So this means championship leader Jerome D'Ambrosio will start last on the grid. Second place in the championship, Antonio Felix da Costa, will start 20th on the grid. This is a look at Paffett getting it up to the wall.
But again, look how straight the car is. It's putting the power to the road. He definitely flirted with the wall a few times as he comes into 9. Watch him here. He goes on the throttle. And he had to jump off the throttle to avoid just collecting the wall.
Ulrich Fritz, the team principal of HWA, finds it funny.
That's the first time I've seen Uli smile since he's been in FE, I think. It's been a tough baptism, but that's great to see. HWA's 1 and 2 so far.
This is a big chance for Lucas de Grassi. He's into Superpole. He's 4th in the championship. D'Ambrosio and da Costa down at the back. Bird not in Superpole.
Here's a look at the results with all 4 groups in, and we get ready for Superpole in these atrocious conditions. The men who will drive: Stoffel Van Dorn, Gary Paffett, Oliver Roland, Eduardo Mortara, Andre Lotterer, and Lucas de Grassi. and it's been a controversial subject depending on which group you start in. But the results show that in Super Pole, we have one driver from Group 1, Lucas de Grassi, 2 from Group 2, Lauderer and Mortara, 1 from Group 3, Oliver Rowland, and 2 from Group 4, Paffett and Van Dorn. So there's more to it than just which group you start from. Well, if that high camera looked like you were staring into a fishbowl, kind of feels that way here at ground level too. And that is a serious puddle. Is that in the pit lane, or that looks like it's on racetrack? Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens as the conditions unfold. Will there be a delay in Super Pole, or will we carry straight on? Let's go down to Nikki Shields.
Well, Andre, you have made it into Super Pole, but the heavens have literally just opened. So I suppose that means you're going to be starting from 6 or above. But what does this mean for your Super Pole session?
It's good to be in Super Pole finally, and we've been strong all morning with a good car, but obviously the conditions are playing with us. And I think that the car has potential, but let's see how we are with the rain. Obviously it dried out, so cars improved, but still managed to keep inside the Super Pole.
I mean, the fact that we saw your teammate Jean-Eric Verne spin after the end of his lap, tricky conditions. Are you going to be playing it safe at all?
You can play it safe in racing, but you just got to keep it on the track, and it's even difficult in a straight line. From last corner is the trickiest, and also the straight line is super tricky. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it together.
All right, well, good luck. I know you've got to rush off. Felipe, let's have a quick word with you. So things looking up for you at the moment, but how was that session? Tough, challenging?
Yeah, very tough, very challenging. You know, you just need to put the lap together, which is quite tricky. Some aquaplaning, some little mistakes. So my lap was not great, to be honest. So a little bit shame not to be in the Super Pole, because I think it was quite possible, to be honest, today. But I mean, let's see. I mean, with this weather, don't know what's going to happen in the race. Everything will happen. Just need to try to be concentrated to finish the race. I think finishing the race, having a reasonable good pace is already a good thing, you know, for today.
All right, brilliant. Thanks very much, Felipe Massa. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nikki. Well, the cars are in park for May, so there'll be no exchanging tires for pontoons. But we'll have to see how the crews and especially the drivers deal with these conditions.
I've been thinking.
That's always dangerous.
Ooh.
Well, I won't say them. I won't say if that's how you're going to. The penalty for Jean-Eric Verne feels a bit. He'd technically, I think he'd finished.
Part of Verne's car.
Yeah, I think he'd finished the lap. You know, he'd finished the lap, and yes, okay, he caused the red flag. Red flag didn't affect anyone else. It's not like he crashed on his flying lap.
No.
I don't know.
But when you cause a red flag, that's kind of the rule, unfortunately. It's just his bad season is getting worse, and he's defending his championship.
Yeah. 18th on the grid, Jean-Eric Verne. 18th on the grid.
And the problem of debris is resolved. We're ready now for Super Pole. The cars will go out in reverse order, so Andre Lauderer will be the first man on track for Techeetah. Let's go back down to Nikki Shields.
Well, Oliver, you seem to have been on fire today, making amends, I suppose, for Mexico City.
Yeah, I know, yeah, obviously good. The rain's always a bit of an equalizer, so I tried to understand the track as quick as I could, and yeah, the car's performing really well. And yeah, we've been up there. I was a bit cautious, to be honest, in the lap, so I'm looking forward to Super Bowl now to put everything on the line a bit more.
All right, okay, well, I know you've got to run, so thanks very much. Good luck. Back to you guys.
He's always cautious, isn't he? He's, I was cautious at turn 1, and he overtook 2 cars in Mexico. Then he's cautious in qualifying, and he ends up quickest until the last
His
group.
idea of caution is maybe different than other people's, but he's definitely taken to Formula E like a duck to water.
Oh, you had to go there.
I did go there, didn't I? But he has done a fabulous job so far. He really has.
There's Eduardo Mortara, for whom this is a bit of a magic racetrack. He got a podium here, darn near won the race here in season 4. I really should have. He'll be the first to tell you. He spun away, going for fast lap down in turn 2. was absolutely inconsolable on the podium. He knew he'd wasted a great opportunity to stand on the top step.
He's got quite a smart helmet. In terms of helmet design, it's, you know, it's quite classic and simple.
We were having, for you, those of you who didn't tune in this morning, Jack and I were having a rant about all helmet designs looking the same nowadays and not actually meaning anything.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from.
We're looking at you, Gary Paffett and Stoffel Van Dorn.
Because Gary Paffett and Stoffel Van Dorn's helmets, from the camera of the track side, the cars look identical. The helmets look pretty identical. Lovely details close up, but you can't really see those at 150 miles an hour when it's passing.
So the session will start at 12:35, say race control. It's been delayed by 5 minutes. The safety car is out on the circuit now to check the conditions. And if the rain eases off a little, then it should, I mean, there's quite a lot of splashing going on there, isn't there? It'll be Bruno Carrera, the safety car driver, who is reporting back to the man in the middle there in the spectacles, Scott Elkins. But he's giving it some beans, isn't
Boy,
he?
he is.
If it was me, if I was Scott Elkins, I'd leave Bruno out there just to take some of the heavier standing water away if he possibly could.
If I were Scott, I'd get in the car with Bruno.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No.
It was a bit quick.
Yeah.
Jack and I did, in season 1, we did a sort of a couple of laps in the safety car at one of the races. It was very hot.
Buenos Aires,
and it was only afterwards we realised it actually had air conditioning.
We just assumed it was a racing car, you know, with no aircon and everything stripped out, but
Wasn't
nope.
one of our highlights.
It's got
drove?
aircon and everything. So we are waiting to see what will happen, but at the moment it's a 5-minute delay.
Well, right now we're going to go to Nikki, who's standing by with Oliver Turvey, I believe.
Oliver Turvey, tricky day in the office for everyone today. How tough was that lap?
Yeah, super tough. The conditions changed since practice, but yeah, this morning we were finding it tricky to find the right balance and grip and in the wet conditions. But yeah, my lap was okay. It felt kind of smooth, but just sliding around a lot. So yeah, we'll have to go back and analyze it and come back for the race.
How tough is it going to be to claw back in the race? Because it's not an easy track to overtake on, is it?
It's not an easy track to overtake, but I think with these conditions, I think anything can happen in the race. So yeah, we'll give it our all, and hopefully we can get some points this afternoon.
Thanks very much.
Big race weekend for NIO as well as DS Techeetah and Envision Virgin. All those teams have close links to Chinese entities and a lot of company personnel on hand both now and 2 weeks from now. The first ABB Formula E visit to Sanya in southern China.
So they're not expecting any more delays in race control. We're being told that they've just sent Bruno out there to check and make sure, and the circuit drains quite quickly and the deluge has stopped. So just to sort of make sure that we're all good to go for this Super Pole session, where they will go out one at a time, out lap, and then straight into your flying lap. No warm-up lap at all. So you've just got to, and after it's just deluged and the track conditions are different, you just have to know what to do.
But it's all about it's that feel. It's the feel that the car's giving you through your hands, through your butt, through your inner ear, through your balance, and that's what these drivers are going to be doing.
In the close-up shot of the cars in the garage, you can see that the mechanics have taken that transparent helicopter tape, they call it, to seal all those joints and all the seams between the bodywork panels and the cars.
They do that in the dry anyway for aerodynamics and stuff
never
as well.
noticed that before.
Oh yeah, they're all over it. A lot of the teams underneath the cars especially have been doing it, some better than others, I think. There was a bit of talk about it yesterday.
How much are the drivers going to be watching this, Dario, watching the safety car and trying to figure out and learn what they can from that?
You can definitely learn. You can see where there's the bit more standing water. The guys have kind of been out though in these conditions earlier, so you know where the puddles were. You just know they're going to be bigger at this point. Turn 10 is going to be pretty tough, and I think was where Gary Paffett's sort of tight line coming off the corner really could serve him very well in Superpole. And look at Bruno Carrera. He's dancing the car on the brakes. He's not just cruising around. He's actually finding the limit, so he can go back to Scott Elkins and say, yeah, it's pretty slippery.
It's for sure more water everywhere, and we will have massive aquaplaning then.
We'll have massive aquaplaning.
Oh, good.
Not good news.
Just what you want to hear.
I'm taking care of it.
Okay, you got qualifying for Super Bowl. Don't worry, massive aquaplaning.
Gary Paffett with a wave.
2 minutes after.
his first Super Bowl session, Gary Paffett.
That's progress for HWA Race Lab. So while we await the start of Super Pole once again, let's go down trackside to Dickie.
Ulrich, it's been a tough start to the season, but fantastic to see both of your drivers now going into Super Pole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had some tough races, really tough races, and we came here, and yeah, we're basically the only team that doesn't know the track. So with 2 new drivers, we knew that there would be a big challenge, and yeah, the weather is even a bigger challenge. But it's great to see the guys in the Super Pole now, and P1 and P2 now. So yeah, keep fingers crossed to be good in Super Pole as well, and then we'll see what we can do in the race.
Absolutely. Good luck. Thanks very much. Back to you guys.
It's a good point that Uli makes. They don't know the track, and a lot of the teams have been saying, yeah, we know the track, and on our simulators, the Gen 1 car, we now know how to sort of integrate it into the Gen 2 car and learn. And both the drivers for HWA haven't been here either.
There's a look at the humidity, up at 89%, probability of rain 45%.
That's gone up, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has. And track temperature 18 degrees. Dario, how do you know Ulrich Fritz? I know you know everyone, but have you driven directly for him? Or?
I drove for HWA before it was HWA. It was AMG. I drove there back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously Ulrich from his sort of time running that operation and running HWA.
Wondering if a lack of experience of the track, as Ulrich Fritz was just talking about, can be a good thing in a situation like that. You have no preconceived notions about how you need to be set up or how you need to drive the track. Sure, you want information, but maybe it helps not to have some sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the first time I've all driven it here in the wet as well, because normally we've got lovely sunshine here and we're complaining about the heat. So this is the first time we've really seen these crazy conditions. But you could tell that they've done a wonderful job with HWA of power delivery, the way the car delivers its power.
Well, the pit lane is about to open, and the 50th E-PRIX qualifying is about to begin here on the streets of Hong Kong. And Lucas di Grassi being told that the green light is there now, and out he goes onto the circuit now. As quickly as the rain comes, it disappears, and although there is going to be standing water, it's nothing like the deluge we saw a couple of moments ago. And is this just going to get better and better the later you're out in this session?
Yeah, I think we've seen it happen. We've seen just those small improvements. Look at the standing water, and you hear Lucas, that's him dragging the brake pedal, trying to build heat into the braking system. And he's only got until he gets back. He's already in turn 2. He's only got about another kilometre to go until he's got to start his qualifying lap. Listen to that. That's spike. That's wheel spin from as soon as he touches the pedal. Standing water through turn 5. This area's got quite good grip though. Down into turn 6. It's a very abrasive surface, almost serrated. Still managing to wheel spin quite nicely. Building tyre temperature, building tyre pressure. Coming through turn 8. You're going to see him start this lap quite late, I would say, as far as he's going to position the car through turn 10 to get as straight a run as he possibly can off of the corner.
Lucas di Grassi took pole position in Santiago, Chile a couple of weeks ago. He was then disqualified from that qualifying session, and now he starts his flying lap up to full power, 250 kilowatts, and onto the brakes into the first hairpin right-hander at Tamar Park. Goes in reasonably deep.
Yeah, that was very nice. I think he's been watching Gary Paffett because he used the same line that Gary used through turn 10. Slightly different line than Lucas used in the first lap as he comes down, looking for his braking point, looking for the apex point as he comes over all these painted surfaces.
Oh, he's straight on! Di Grassi, no, he just about gets it turned in, so that's obviously cost him time, but he didn't go straight down the escape road.
You can listen to the sound of the electric motor just flatlining. Look at the view from the camera. That's Lucas can see about what you can see through that camera, maybe less. And if it's raining for the race, that'll be a lot worse with the car in front blowing up a load of water into the air. Neat through 6, down the hill into 7, standing water in this area. It's the lowest point of the track. And you've got to see through 8, this looks very slippery, a lot of standing water. From now to the finish line, you're just worried about standing water. If you can actually see the track.
One more corner to go then for Lucas di Grassi. We won't really have a benchmark time here. Well, he's about to set it if he keeps it straight across the line now. And it's a 1:14.177. So that's the benchmark. There's no idea whether that's good or bad.
And that's survival.
Yeah.
That was absolute survival through turns 9 and 10.
And Alan McNish knows that. A big puff of relief that Degrassi got around it. This was him down at turn 2 at Hong Kong Station.
Yeah, just locked that left front. It looks like late in the braking zone. Yeah, look at it. You can see the tyre stop rotating.
Almost went into the wall.
He did a great job to recover it, because once it starts to lock, it's very difficult to stop it, as we see Andre Lotter trying to put temperature into the tyres.
So the 37-year-old from Germany, 2 podiums in his Formulary career, but no pole positions and no victories as of yet. But could today be the day that changes? He's had 2 second-place starts on the grid as Lotterer, and he starts his flying lap now. Down towards the hairpin right-hander, turn 1 at Tamar Park, and he's wiggling in a straight line.
It was full throttle. You can see that the halo was glowing magenta, but he was the back of the car just sliding both ways. Nice and neat through 1 though. Got back onto the throttle. He's used to these monsoon conditions, racing in Japan as much as he has.
Through the first sector, and he is 2/10 away from Lucas
This is where
Degrassi.
Lucas outdid it over the braking zone. Not so for Andre Lotter. Lovely through turn 2.
That's going to give him a huge chunk of time compared to Degrassi.
You know, playing with the throttle, trying to get those rear tyres to hook up and start to accelerate.
Past the Star Ferry terminal on the right-hand side. And he is a second up.
A second up. That's just due to the mistake that Lucas made. Now we're coming to the point that Lucas was surviving through turn 7, turn 8 with all the aquaplaning, 9 and 10. Decent grip there. Look at the back end again. He hasn't been to full throttle the whole way along that straight.
Here comes Lotterer then through the final corner, cuts the timing beam and goes surely quicker than Degrassi, yes, by 1.3 seconds. Really good final sector as well from Andre Lotterer.
And again, these are the same tyres.
FP2, use pedal to slow down the car, no crossing brake and throttle, box this lap.
That's Lotterer just being told how to behave on his in-lap.
With regard to the brakes, yeah, the Degrassi rule.
Yeah.
Be careful that the in-lap must not be more than 120% slower than your fast lap. Box and stop at the FIF lap edge.
I'd be challenged to get within 120% of my fast lap in these conditions.
I was going to say, that is not an easy thing to do. Look at Lotterer's eyes. Look into the helmet, into the visor, and you should see, as the light just gets to the right point, you see his eyes and you watch the focus.
Fantastic. Next up, Eduardo Mortara. He has performed very well here in the past. Mortara started second on the grid here last season, and now he comes across the line down into turn 1 at Tamar Park.
And it didn't take full throttle till almost the actual start of line of the race, as opposed to the timing line. It just shows how little grip there is. Listen to the motor change as he aquaplanes down this straight.
Quarter of a second up on Lotterer on into turn 2. Oh, I didn't know if he was getting that one in.
That was a bit of a wiggle, and obviously the camera's right in the point of the nose, so you get a slightly different view when the car does go sideways.
Whoa! It went sideways then as well. Mortara through turn 5. Now down to the hairpin. Oh, he's half a second up on Lotterer. Good lap this from Mortara. The track seems to be getting better and better. Mortara driving very well too. Just 2 more corners to go now for the Italian-Swiss racer.
Watch him fighting it across the puddles.
Oh, he fights really hard. Big opposite lock. Cuts the timing beam and is quickest. A 1:12.310. Half a second quicker. That's provisional pole for Venturi.
I'm feeling good about my pick now.
Yeah.
So that's better, right? Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good lap, mate. Good lap. Currently P1 by 5.5 tenths.
Degrassi says, yeah, that's okay.
A lot of risk, like especially in the last sector, but he paid off.
Mortara telling Albert Lau
Copy that.
that he took a lot of risk.
To the last corner. Good job.
He took a lot of risk at 2, never mind the end of the lap.
That was the one.
Macau's not too bad in Hong Kong either.
Yeah, he's engineer from Hong Kong too, right?
Used all the road.
Nice little bit of banter between him and his race engineer Albert Lau, saying the king of Hong Kong, not too bad in Macau either. And Mortara saying, yeah, his engineer's from Hong Kong too. Here comes Oliver Rowland now. We've got 3 cars to go in Superpole. The first is the Nissan Edams driver, Oliver Rowland, onto the brakes into turn 1.
Now, he said he was cautious in group qualifying. Let's see what he's going to do in Superpole. He's going to lay it all on the line. We'll see exactly how aggressive he's going to be in the braking zone coming up for turn 2.
He's up on Eduardo Mortara. Can he get that in at Hong Kong Station?
He did.
Yes, he does.
Nearly 2/10 up. That's understeered through the first part of 3 and 4 chicane.
That big puddle on the way into 5.
Look how assertive he is with the steering, though. He's definitely taken hold of the car. He's not letting the puddle sort of drag him around. He's just putting the car exactly where he wants.
He's up on Mortara after sector 2 by just over 1/10 of a second. Now through the final sector where Mortara said he took a lot of risk. Will Rowland do the same?
So far, yeah, it looks good, Jack.
Round about at the right-hander. And then out across the line. Rowland looking for provisional pole position with 2 cars still to run. Slides out wide and gets it. A 1:11.903. He found 3/10 in that final sector, Rowland.
It's pole for now, mate. Pole for now. Scenario 2. Scenario 2. And we push in lap.
That was mighty. Now just the 2 HWAs to go.
How does that feel when your engineer's sort of just trying to say, yeah, good job, you know, keeping it calm, and you hear the garage behind clapping and cheering?
It's good enough. I wasn't clean.
We have another pessimist on our hands.
Push the in lap. Push the in lap.
Right now,
Rowland doesn't think it's good enough. It wasn't clean, he says.
Behind.
All he's worried about is the 2 cars coming behind him. You can't afford to sort of go, yes, I've done it, I've done a great job. He's done a good job, but these 2 guys afterwards, Stoffel van Dorn, Gary Paffett, could ruin your morning.
Michael Kakamo, the Global Motorsport Director for Nissan. If it holds up, it'll be the 2nd pole of the season for Nissan Edams, a team with a proud tradition of 3 straight team championships.
But what it will do is guarantee Rowland his best Formula E start. At worst, he will be 3rd on the grid. Here comes Gary Paffett, the reigning German touring car champion in the DTM. Onto the brakes into turn 1, he's gone. Paffett locks it up, gets it back straight again. He's still got a chance to beat De Grassi.
Yeah, absolutely. The worst he can start is 6th, so you might as well give it some now. What you don't want to do is damage the car too badly, because the race is coming up in pretty short order.
You know what? He could still beat Lotterer, actually. He only lost 7/10 of a second at that first corner, so a good next couple of sectors, and he could still slot into 3rd place here, Paffett.
And he's got to be kicking himself, because look how good that HWA car looks on the track, and look how well Gary Paffett is driving it.
9/10 away now. He's only 1,000th ahead of Lotterer in relative terms come the final sector, so it's all down to this for Paffett. Can he slot into 3rd ahead of the Tachita with 1 car to go?
He does not want to go too tight against the wall in the apex of turn 10, because there's some big puddles there that have caught some of the other guys out. Just to give it a little bit of breathing room on his left now as you see it. Yeah, he has done.
Here comes Paffett towards the line. Can he book himself a spot on the front 2 rows? No. Drops in behind Andre Lotterer, so at best 4th, at worst 5th for the HWA. Still Paffett's best qualifying in Formula E. So now it's Rowland or Van Dorn who will start on pole position for the Hong Kong E-Prix. Here's a look back again at Paffett at turn 1.
Lost the front, lost the rear, just too late on the brakes.
Here's a look at it again.
Almost looks like when he hit the white line, the dashed line, it locked the right rear for him, and that sort of started to send him off. It's a horrible feeling when you hear that the motor's slowing down, and then it starts to sort of make that chirping noise as the rear wheels start to bounce.
So here comes the incredibly impressive Stoffel Vandoorne, GP2 champion with the most points in the history of the championship. Former McLaren F1 driver, didn't work out there, but now he is here in Formula E. He's put in some impressive qualifying so far this season. Can he take pole position for the Hong Kong E-PRIX? He goes very deep into one.
Missed the corner a little bit, but do you notice he straddled that white line? Didn't put a wheel onto it, so hopefully that's helped him.
Mortara's been given a grid drop of 3 positions for overspeeding under red flag. He was under investigation earlier on, so that will affect the final grid. Vandoorne, meanwhile, is 3,000ths up on Roland in Sector 1.
3,000ths of a second in these conditions. Every one of the millions of inputs this guy's making to all the controls of the car could have a big outcome on what he's trying to do. Look how close he gets to the wall in 5. Nice and neat though, Jack, on the power up into 6, downhill into 6. The camera doesn't show it.
He's still less than a 10th up on Roland. This is going to be mighty tight for pole position in Hong Kong. Really wrestling with it. Roland was rapid in the final third of the lap.
And this isn't about bravery, this is about feeling the limit of the car.
Vandoorne through the final corner at turn 10, drives over the line and seals pole position.
3/10.
What a final sector for Stoffel Vandoorne. What a lap for HWA. They take their first pole position in ABB FIA Formula E.
Scenario 10, P1, mate, P1, scenario 10.
The only team not to have scored any points in the season so far have just backed their first of the season with 3 for pole position.
This is good.
Yeah, I would say.
Randalled into the max.
It's Hans-Werner Aufrecht with his back to us, the man who started AMG, my old boss.
And he is the HWA of HWA.
Got to be happy with that.
You think?
Yeah, I would say so.
So that is 1st and 4th on the grid for HWA after Mortara will serve his 3-place penalty. What a qualifying session that was, and what a lap from Stoffel Vandoorne.
Look at it, just moving the wheel, just trying to find where's the grip, catching the oversteer, catching another oversteer, and gets it straight.
In general, that was so neat.
It really was. Look how much, didn't use the big curb, which we've seen some guys jump right across that. Gets the car pendulum, the car round, gets back to the throttle. Look at the water getting kicked up.
It's Franco Chiachetti, who just stood up and pumped the air, a man who was integral to Audi's success in the early days.
To be able to judge the speed you're coming, because you're taking an hour to accelerate.
But I did a 12.1 in quali, and the times were already down to like 11, so I thought it should be pretty similar. So
This takes so long.
You only get 1 lap to warm the brakes.
Yeah.
Discussing how they only get 1 lap to warm the brakes, they're saying that's the toughest part.
What a moment for the newest team in ABB Formula E, HWA Race Lab. Here's a look at the results of Super Pole and the rest of qualifying. Stoffel Vandoorne with pole position and 3 championship bonus points. Oliver Rowland will start on the outside for Nissan Edams. Eduardo Mortara, Andre Lauderer, Gary Paffett, Lucas de Grasse. Remember, Mortara will go down 3 spots. So it'll be Lauderer, Paffett, and then Mortara and de Grasse. There you see 11th through 22nd, and your championship leader, Jerome D'Ambrosio, starts stone last. Wow. What a qualifying session. There's Stoffel Vandoorne. Now let's go back down to Nikki.
Well, Edo Mortara, it's a tough one because it's always risk versus reward, but that little bit of extra risk has clearly paid off.
Well, I mean, it was a question of like not making mistakes, and I'm pretty happy actually where we ended up. P3 was pretty much the best from where we were starting, like with the groups. I think it was the best that we could achieve, so happy with that.
Well done. And Oliver Rowland, you sounded a bit disappointed at the end of your lap.
Yeah, I could have done a better job, to be honest. But still, obviously, I have to be happy. You know, it's twice in Super Pole on the front row for my first time. So, you know, hopefully we can get a good start. P2 is actually not too bad here. It's on the inside, so if you can get off the line well, then, you know, who knows. But no, big thanks to the team. They did a great job, and also well done to Stoffel. He did a great lap.
And when it comes to the calculations of the energy, no mistakes this time.
Yeah, I'll let you tell my engineer that.
All right, well, thanks very much and good luck. And let's have a quick word with the man of the moment, Stoffel Vandoorne. You have arrived in Formula E. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a lot of adrenaline right now. You know, very tricky conditions this morning with the rain. But it's the same for everyone, and you know, we've done a really good job preparing for this event. I think now we just, you know, need to try and stay out of trouble. We're in the best position to start the race, so hopefully we can keep that up.
Exactly. I mean, it can't take anything away from you from being in pole position, but do you think there was an advantage being in one of the later groups?
It's hard to tell. I think you know, at whatever stage this weekend, we've always been competitive, no matter what. So I think, you know, with the rain, we can't predict what is going to happen. So, you know, we managed to do the job, and that's what counts today.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Good luck, Stoffel.
Huge moment for Stoffel Vandoorne. Picking up following a disappointing Formula One career, as Jack mentioned earlier. This will go a long way toward lifting the spirits of HWA in anticipation of the arrival of Mercedes next year as their factory team, along with Porsche, bringing all of the top German manufacturers into the series. Here's a look at the Drivers' Championship. Jerome D'Ambrosio leading by 7 points over Antonio Felix da Costa. Another point back, Sam Bird. Then Lucas de Grassi, Pascal Wehrlein, Andre Lauderer, Robin Freintz, Jean-Eric Vergne, Mitch Evans, Eduardo Mortara, and Daniel Abt. But the action comes toward the back, where Stoffel Vandoorne has now lifted himself from 0 to 3 points, 17th place. Now we'll look at the highlights of a really dramatic qualifying session with Jack.
So the rain came down just before qualifying. Nobody knew what to expect. The Mahindras were the first drivers out onto the circuit. Dilbag Gill's heart was pumping, but the cars were not working. They finished down at the back. Sam Bird and Lucas de Grassi did a good job. De Grassi even managed to get through into the Super Pole session. Eduardo Mortara was very impressive. He went quickest of anyone. Jean-Eric Vergne cut the timing beam and then crashed into the wall. That would lead to his lap time being deleted, and he would drop down to 18th on the grid. Felipe Massa then went out, made a mistake at turn 1, but he still managed to recover up into 9th place. Eduardo Mortara did well, but he was under investigation. Oliver Rowland booked himself a place in the Super Pole session. A round of applause from the Nissan team. Gary Paffett and the other HWA of Stoffel Vandoorne both made it through to Super Pole. The first time both of the HWAs have been in there, and the first time for Gary Paffett. Then the rain continued to come down. Lucas de Grassi made a mistake at turn 2. He came across the line, but it was only good enough for 6th place in the end. Next up was Andre Lauderer. Eduardo Mortara wrestled and took provisional pole away from Lauderer. And then Oliver Rowland. Magnificent through the final sector, it seemed, to take provisional pole position. Vandoorne pretty much matched Rowland through the first 2 sectors, but found an incredible 0.3 of a second in the final sector to secure his first Formula E pole position and his first pole position anywhere since Fuji in 2016 in Super Formula.
Well, no matter where a driver starts in the field for today's race, I have to say that was an amazing demonstration of car control from the front of the grid to the very back. Once again, Stoffel Vandoorne with his first career ABB Formula E pole and first for HWA Race Lab. He'll start alongside Oliver Rowland. Eduardo Mortara will drop down the order. There you see 11th through 22nd. Jean-Eric Vergne, the Rating Series champion, remains luckless. He will line up in 18th. And with 3 bonus points now in place, no change in the top 11. Jerome D'Ambrosio still leads Antonio Felix da Costa by 6, Sam Bird by 7 points, Lucas de Grassi excuse me, 7 and 8 points respectively. Lucas de Grassi, the other race winner among the top 4. Stoffel Vandoorne now slots into 17th place, leaving only Tom Dillman and Gary Paffett looking for their first points among active drivers. In the team's championship, Mahindra Racing maintains its position ahead of Envision Virgin. BMW I Andretti are in 3rd place, DS Techeetah 4th. But those 3 points mean HWA Race Lab is off the goose egg. Now let's get down once again to Nikki.
Well, what a wonderfully unpredictable qualifying session that was. Very pleased to say I've got 2 Brits alongside me. Oliver Rowland, who'll be starting from 2nd, and Gary Paffett. Well done, your first Super Bowl session. How was that?
Yeah, it's been good fun today in the wet. You know, it's a real challenge, but the car's been really good. Ultimately, a bit disappointed with 5th after being 2nd after qualifying, but really pleased to be in Super Bowl, and shows we're making progress.
Absolutely. And Oliver, just very quickly, here to make amends for what happened in Mexico?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, we worked hard in between. We were disappointed there, you know, we're in Super Bowl on the podium, and then we were disappointed afterwards, but we're starting on the front row, so we're in the mix. So yeah, we'll be going for the win today.
Brilliant. Dario, what do you think? 2 British drivers, they've obviously had a lot of experience in the wet.
They did a great job, didn't they, both of you? Gary, it looked like he was the first one to really figure out, drive the car nice and straight and on big lurid slides. He looked like he had proper control of the car, though. Fantastic job, boys. I'm looking forward to the race.
Absolutely, yes. That is the question. Are we going to have a wet race? Will we have the first wet race in Formula E history?
It's for sure going to start wet, that's a guarantee. If it's going to rain again, we don't know, but for sure it's going to be a wet start. So.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys. Well, do make sure you join us for the race this afternoon. Who knows? It could be our first Formula E wet race. We'll see you in just a couple of hours.
So stick one, Vernon, stick one. And Amanda, stick two. Just so I can tell them, are you going to take off the mains receivers so they'll hear their voice?
Hello.
Hi. The amount of surprise in your voice speaks volumes.
I've got you.
Give him some. Hi everyone, hello and welcome to Hong Kong. It's race 3. But we are in for one heck of a race because the E-Trophy is not to be missed, because every race we've had so far has been quite exceptional from start to finish.
Be careful, yeah.
Hey, how are you? Watch your back.
I can give you a test. I can tell you all about the drivers, what fun they've been having, the joy, in fact, the horror of actually having to start a race in this weather. I hate it. It
What's
actually
that?
gives me the heebie-jeebies.
What does?
Starting a race when you're just so uncertain of what the track conditions are going to be like and the grip levels, because you've got to be committed or else you're just going to have go off.
Yep.
You either go off or you lose places. And yeah, I can't stand it, actually, to be honest. Either it needs to be raining, where you know it's just rubbish, but when it's half dry, half wet, it's...
Which way are we shooting? Are we starting at the top?
Was that all right? Sorry, I was just...
Okay. So you know, when I do my introduction, only 1 point separates the top 4 drivers. Are you going to talk about the drivers for this race or the drivers in general?
Drivers... Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the weather.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Rain's been on and off. When it rains, it really rains.
And then the drive 1 point.
And then I'll say 1 point.
And then I'll talk about the drivers.
Okay. And are you talking about them in general or for this
I'm
race?
going to talk about... well, I'll talk about them for this race.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
quali.
And then what do we go into?
VIP driver, VIP driver,
Yeah.
and then into Pro-Ams.
Yeah. And then we're going into the Saudi VT.
Obviously, when you talk about quali, put them in reference. So, Mexico winner, last race, Catherine, she's back. Top 4 drivers are only separated by 1 point.
This may be the year of the pig, but big cats prowl these shores. A pride of Jaguars forged from metal, rubber and carbon fibre. 12 warriors that descend from all four corners of this earth, and their hunger for victory burns brighter and brighter. Pounding hearts thump like beating drums. Patience and persistence will triumph over aggression and attack. On city streets illuminated with noise and light, this all-electric challenge lies in wait for a brand new breed of street fighter.
So welcome to Hong Kong. We've left the Middle East and the Americas behind us, and we've landed here in this beautiful harbourside city centre street circuit.
Beautiful? It would be beautiful, Amanda, if we could actually see it. The mist has rolled in for the past 5 days, and it is not for shifting. Yes, this is the official support series of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. It's the I-PACE E Trophy. Amanda, you've been out and about, you've been speaking to the technicians since Mexico. What facts and stats have you drawn from them?
I think what's really important to remember here is the performance statistics of the car. It's incredible, 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in 4.5 seconds. And what's really important to remember here is all the drivers have the same car. This is a modified road car. In fact, the car is obviously so good, it's just won European Car of the Year. Everybody has got the same machinery. And this is a really tight circuit. I cannot wait to see them going down into that first corner.
And this is the third race of 10. And so far, the season has been absolutely ridiculous. Just take a look. For the very first race, we descended on Saudi Arabia, the historic city of Ad-Diriyah, and a street circuit consisting of 21 tight, twisting corners. The anomaly of torrential rain in the middle of a desert cancelled qualification, but when the 5 lights went out, it was Simon Evans who stormed into the lead.
The first ever Jaguar I-PACE E-Trophy Series races go! Good start from Evans.
Canadian Stefan Rodzinski let Brazilian Cacabueno know he was up for the fight.
Oh, and there's a little bit of a slide for Cacabueno.
VIP driver Alice Powell quickly climbed through the order.
That's 2 places gained now for Alice Powell.
But it was the front 3 who entered an epic battle. The order stayed Evans, Sellers, Jimenez for 15 laps. But with just 1 lap to go, it was now or never for the Brazilian.
There goes Jimenez up the inside of Sellers, great move!
The race saw Saudi driver LSI win the Pro-Am category on home soil, and it was pole sitter Simon Evans who became the first ever Jaguar I-PACE E-Trophy race winner.
It's the checker flag and the win for Simon Evans.
Touching down in the Americas, the second round took place in Mexico City, and half street, half race circuit sitting over 7,000 foot above sea level.
All 5 lights are on, and away we go.
Local favourite and VIP driver Salvador Duran collided with Cacabueno.
There's the move, forceful.
As they both tried to squeeze through the chicane.
Oh no!
This crash also damaged Radzinski and Ahmed Ben Kanan's cars. It dropped championship leader Evans back to last place, and yet again, Jimenez capitalised. Al-Asai drove to victory for his second Pro-Am win. But Mexico was the battle of 2 teammates. Brian Sellers remained on Catherine Legg's bumper the entire race, but the British driver was able to hold on to take victory.
Out and round the final corner, the checkered flag is waiting, and victory in the top of the championship for Catherine Legg.
And make history by becoming the first woman to win on a Formula E weekend. This result means that going into round 3 here in Hong Kong, the top 4 pro drivers are separated by just 1 point.
Yes, here we are in Hong Kong. We're on the grid. Everyone is milling around. Everyone's getting ready. There's a nervous anticipation, not about the race, Amanda, but about the actual weather and the conditions, because earlier on in qualifying, it was horrendous, absolutely horrific. It came bucketing down, and it really affected the performance, not only of the cars, but the drivers themselves, because their concentration levels went through the roof.
Absolutely. What we've got here is a track that we have seen, I wouldn't say it was dry. It started off with dry lines, and then, as you say, the heavens opened and it rained. And it is really challenging for drivers in these mixed conditions. But, you know, it's a testament to the car that everybody actually went round without really major incidents. They
I
are
think we lost
four-wheel
the odd
drive.
wing mirror.
Yeah,
well, that happens in
exactly.
every high-pace E-Trophy race.
That's right, but nobody crashed.
No.
So that was actually quite something.
It really was. And one thing we should talk about is the fact that, like you said, the cars held up to the challenge of the conditions. And one of the reasons why is that it's all-wheel drive.
That's right, yep.
All-wheel drive, which gives the drivers a little bit more confidence, but it was horrific earlier on. Let's talk about the drivers. We've got Catherine and Brian still battling it out. Catherine obviously sat at the top of the championship table, but only 1 point separates top to fourth.
Yep, so Catherine was obviously race winner last time out in Mexico. She's starting in 5th here, and her teammate Brian Sellers, who's just behind her in the championship, he is starting in 2nd. It seems that poor old Brian is always going to be a bridesmaid. I'm looking forward to Brian actually getting on the front line just for once. That would be really good. But talking about the front line, Caca Bueno, how amazing that we've actually got him starting in pole position here. I think we've all been expecting great things from Caca. We know he is a multiple champion in Brazilian stock cars, and it just seems that things haven't really been going his way as of yet, but starting in pole position. But then again, his teammate Sergio Jimenez, starting, unfortunately, on the back row because he had a technical problem with his car, nothing to do with the weather, and so is actually going to be starting in the team car.
Yeah, it's interesting that he started way back there because, I mean, the pressure must be on him as well because Caca Bueno came out in the 2nd race. He said, listen, I want to win this championship. There's a lot of attention being put on Brian Sellers and Catherine Legg, but he said, whoa, I'm still here, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to make this championship mine.
The other person to mention is, of course, the VIP driver, Darrell O'Young, local boy, hugely popular here amongst the Hong Kong fans. So he did very well. But of course, Werner, and we've also had the Saudi drivers. Now, I mean, they've been absolutely storming, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They're absolutely phenomenal. So not only Catherine and Brian have an inter-team challenge, but also the Saudi drivers as well. Just take a look.
It is really great to have the start of the season in Saudi Arabia, my home country.
Racing in front of my fans, it was really an amazing feeling. Having no noise in the car, it's a bit strange, but I think, yes, you can say it's an advantage. You can hear the crowd cheering for you. I can actually hear them every time I pass by the grandstand. Battling with my teammate Ahmed in Mexico, it was a really exciting battle, so it was action-packed.
Got hit in the first corner. I tried to stay in the front as long as possible, but my teammate was chasing me the whole race.
Trying to get the right moment, and I made it.
Al-Asai is past Binkanen, and through comes Evans as well. Bandar Al-Asai is going to make it 2 out of 2. Pole position in the race win in both at Diriyah and in Mexico City in the Pro-Am class in the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy Series.
Really excited for Hong Kong. It's a very beautiful city.
Driving in Hong Kong street track, it will be challenging for me. It's very narrow, a lot of walls everywhere, though I'm sure it's not easy. And Ahmed is giving me a lot of pressure. I'll be pushing as hard as I can. Well, my aim in Hong Kong is to win the Pro-Am category and to hunt the pro guys in front of me.
It's an exciting battle between our two Saudi Arabian drivers in the Pro-Am category, but right here at the front of the grid, Caca Bueno, you said that you wanted to take this championship home. You said you wanted the trophy. You're making a statement by putting yourself on pole position.
Yeah, the pole is very complicated. The circuit is tricky. It's not only wet, but slippery for everywhere. But I make a good lap. I'm very happy about my lap and the qualifying. Now is try to keep the pace and try to win my first win in the championship, to start to recover and end the championship. We need to win now. I'm fighting for this victory today.
How do you approach this race now, starting at the front? Are you going to have to take a look at what's happening behind you, because it is a really tough track and it's going to be difficult for those guys behind you to actually overtake you?
Look in front, make the turn one.
I love it when drivers say that. Forget all those people behind us, but let's just look forward.
I make my race.
All right, good man. All the best. Thank you. There you go. Amanda, what a guy at the front of the grid. Amanda, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vernon. Yes, Brian Sellers. Listen, starting in second, I've called you the bridesmaid. It feels like you're always there, but you're just not quite there enough.
Well, hopefully that changes today. I mean, obviously it's a very tight series and you're up against some really good people. So, you know, at least we're still going to the wedding, I guess. They've been called worse. So, I don't know. We definitely have our work cut out for us. You know, it's kind of a revolving circle right now with who's been quick and who's won races. So we're just going to do our best to try and stay consistent and take the race to Kaka and see what we have.
Now, these conditions are very tricky. We've seen that also in the Formula E sessions earlier on. It's very slippery. They keep changing. Rain keeps coming. What's going to be your strategy? Because passing on a circuit like this, which is very tight, must be hard.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I try not to have too much of a strategy because it always seems to change so fast anyway. The weather here is kind of evident of that. So I think we'll just go and see how the race unfolds. I don't suspect Kaka will give me too many opportunities to make anything out of it. So we'll just see what happens, see what we can do, see where we're strong up against him, and hopefully it's in the right places.
Good luck, Brian. And Vernon is with third place man Simon Evans.
I am, thank you very much, Amanda. Simon, we're third on the grid. How do you attack Brian and Kaka up there at the front?
Try and get through the first corner. It's the first time we've got a hairpin to start off with. The grid spaces are really tight. It's wet, so it's going to make it quite interesting. You know, being third, it's do you try to attack or do you try, you know, go conservative and protect from behind and just try and get the inside line coming back down to turn 2. So I'll see how my launch goes and then I'll take it from there.
We've talked about it in the past, and we've talked about how difficult it is for you guys to overtake because all the cars are the same. So what is the perfect race for you in the I-Pace?
You know, good clean first lap. And then just minimising the mistakes. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough today. When it rains here, it just absolutely dumps down. So, can't wait to get stuck in.
All right, let me just. There you go. You get in there because we're being told by all the marshals that we've got to move on. We're actually holding up the race. Amanda, the pressure is on us. Never mind the drivers because we've got to get out of the way because we've got to get run over.
I know, exactly. No, we got 3 minutes to go until the start of the race. Everybody's really starting to focus now. And, yeah, really just look down there towards the first corner and those lights.
Yeah, there's Catherine in the number 3 car, Catherine Legg. And I'm
waving
sure,
at us.
There she is. I'm sure she feels the most pressure, really, because she's at the top of the table. And she's one of two ladies that are in the championship, along with Celia Martin as well.
Yeah, Celia, who we don't talk much about, actually. Celia's been doing a great job. She is a pro-am and really quite inexperienced, but holding her own.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've literally, this gentleman here is just say there. He's kind of ushering us off the track. He's our security. So whilst we make haste and get out the way, Jack will go to you and Hoping Tong in the commentary booth. Come on, Amanda, we've got to go.
Get off the grid. What are you doing? We've got to start this race. Thank you very much, Vernon and Amanda. Great to hear from the front runners, as they say. I'm here alongside Hoping Tong in the commentary box, the Jaguar Formula E reserve driver and a man who knows these I-Pace E-Trophy cars very well indeed. And we are just minutes away, finally, from the start of the third round of the championship. And on pole position, it's Kaka Bueno, the Brazilian driver with a huge amount of experience for Jaguar Brazil Racing. Alongside him on the front row, it's Brian Sellers. Sellers is 4th in the championship, but only 1 point off Catherine Legg, who is in the lead of the standings. Then it's Simon Evans, 3rd on the grid. Won the opening race in at Diriyah, but then finished 6th in the last race after contact. Stefan Radzinski starts in 4th. He's looking to just get a finish in this race. Then it's Catherine Legg, championship leader. She starts in 5th place on the grid in front of Zhang. Yachi Zhang with the very impressive Pro-Am pole position. Then it's the VIP driver for the weekend, Darryl Young, the Hong Konger with a huge amount of World Touring car and GT experience. And then it is Bandar Al-Asai, the points leader in the Pro-Am class, just ahead of his teammate Ahmed bin Kanen. Then we've got a very impressive performance from Celia Martin. She qualified in 10th place on the grid, and that is just in front of Chi Lin, who starts in 11th. Sergio Jimenez at the back of the grid. He is a pro, but he's starting at the back of the Pro-Am class. He had problems and couldn't set a lap in qualifying. So the car's about to pull forward. Hoping they're going into the unknown a little bit with these conditions.
A little bit. One big advantage for these cars, they're all-wheel drive, so great traction at the start. And the drivers can actually change the torque distribution between the front and the rear axle. Most drivers, even in wet conditions, will still choose to have more power on the rear wheels.
So all the cars are in position, just waiting for the lights, and the third round of the inaugural season of the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy, but it looks as though Catherine Legg, I think, might have a little bit of a problem. There's a yellow flag waving there. The yellow flag's gone in, so all 5 lights are on now, and the race is underway. Down towards the first corner in Hong Kong. It's a good start from Cacabueno. He immediately covers the inside line. Pretty even start from everyone. Late on the brakes for Catherine Legg around the outside. Neatly done. And she's managed to get herself up into 3rd place. Really good start there. Sergio Jimenez has taken 3 positions. Not sure what happened to the both of the Saudi Arabian cars. They've dropped back a long way. But Cacabueno it is who leads. In 2nd place is Brian Sellers. 3rd is his teammate Catherine Legg, who managed to force her way past Simon Evans. Then it's Young, then it's Radzinski, then it's side by side as Jimenez makes his way now up into another place past Zhang. Celia Martin has managed to get to the front of the Pro-Am class. So that was an absolute straightforward start for the front runners, but in Pro-Am everything's changed.
Yeah, amazing start from Catherine Legg. She had kind of the same launch from when the lights went off, but just chose the outside line where everyone was kind of tucking inside just to defend the line, and you know, actually holding up each other there, and where Catherine just took the normal racing line, braked much later, and just gained 2 positions. Yeah, brilliant start from her.
So she's now a bit of 3rd place. Cacabueno coming through the final couple of corners now into the roundabout here, and then soon we'll head through the left-hander of turn 10 and down the start-finish straight, a 25-minute plus 1 lap race, and Bueno has a full course yellow deployed, and that'll be for debris out there on the circuit somewhere, probably down at turn 1, because that's where all the crunch happened.
Yeah, we saw there damage on the left front side of Sergio Jimenez's car, probably caused by his frantic first lap coming from last place all the way up to 8. Yeah, here you can see.
Yep.
1 headlight missing there as well from his car, and the wheel fender.
So that's where the debris went. It could have been off any of the cars.
And then Bander LSI as well with damage, which is quite significant, being the leader in the Pro-Am class.
So what happened here? How did Celia Martin? Well, we see Catherine Legg go around the outside as well in the white and blue car on the right-hand side, but also keep an eye on the orange and black car. Does she pull the same move? Yes, she does. She just drives around the outside of everyone at the first corner and takes the lead of her class.
Basically, everyone who chose the outside line here was a winner.
Yeah.
It's just simply whenever you're on the inside, you're kind of anticipating on the driver in front of you, whilst when you're here on the outside, the line that Catherine chose, it's a free track in front of you, so you can basically just pick your own braking point, brake as late as possible, same like Daryl Young, who's passing everyone here on the outside, while the entire field almost comes to a stop.
Yep, and that was Yachi Shang we were on board with there. So, full course yellow, everybody limited to 50 kilometers an hour. You can see the Pro class on the right-hand side is the cars with the blue backgrounds, so Bueno leading that, and then Pro-Am for the less experienced drivers is with the white background. Celia Martin leading that, but she'll soon have Sergio Jimenez for company. Jimenez making up 4 positions off the start. Martin making up 3. Legg and Young both making up 2. Really, Yachi Zhang and Stefan Radzinski were the big losers in that one. And there is the debris being removed. So hopefully, good work from the Hong Kong marshals, who I imagine don't get much motor racing.
This kind of starts are always interesting, especially in these kind of conditions. As a driver, you try to, I am kind of almost visualize, once we're going green again, visualize what you're going to do. And I think, I'm pretty sure Cacabueno definitely had the idea, I'm going to defend the inside. And Catherine was really committed there. She wasn't planning to go on the inside at all.
Here's a look at Bandar Al-Asai down into turn 1. So he's another man who went to the inside and then got taken around the outside. Daryl Young is up into 5th place now. I think he's got past Stefan Radzinski then, so that's a good start from Young. Martin and Jimenez are battling it out, and there goes Jimenez up the inside of Celia Martin, but there's no point Martin fighting it really because she's not in the same class as Jimenez. So losing that position doesn't actually compromise her much. Rain coming down, I think.
Yeah, everyone having their wipers on, but I think it's more from still the water that's being thrown up from the cars. Obviously, these cars using Michelin tires, which are used just like Formula E in every weather condition. So there's no difference between dry track or wet track. Always the same type of tire. Only one set per weekend. We saw in qualifying Radzinski breaking his right rear tire on a curbstone. Unfortunately, that means that he has to use a tire from the race in Mexico as a result, and that's actually a bit of a penalty almost here because that will definitely give him less grip.
And he is in that purple, white and black car that's under pressure from Sergio Jimenez. Jimenez is going to get the inside line there. I'm surprised Radzinski left him enough room, but Jimenez has got the inside. Oh, that's a late one. Bold stuff, and that was Zhang taking the lead of the Pro-Am class, and Celia Martin getting pushed out wide. Then there's a bit of contact as well with Bandar Al-Asai, and so Celia Martin loses 2 places and maybe a 3rd because Binkanen was in there as well. And Radzinski slowing. Stefan Radzinski, I think, is slowing as he got damaged there in the TWR car at the back. He's dropped right to the back of the field now in the purple and white car. Didn't seem to get a hit from Jimenez, but he's fallen right away.
Yeah, there's a very aggressive move from Zhang. Good move though, because Celia didn't really expect it at all, as you can see. And right as she was turning in, bit too aggressive maybe. One can always argue whenever Celia would have not been there, where would he have ended up?
Yeah.
He basically used her car also to stop.
That's a cool shot. Now, what is up with Stefan Radzinski's car? I mean, this guy has had really bad luck in the first 2 races. Retired in Mexico City, managed to limp around to the end in Andiria, always getting involved, almost in someone else's incident. And I can't quite figure out where he's lost or caused the damage here, because the Jimenez move on him seems quite clear.
Celia Martin spun in the background in the last corner. She was very close behind Al-Asai just now.
Has Cacabueno gone straight on at turn 1? Has Sellers managed to get into the lead here? What's happened? The timing tower saying that Sellers now is in the lead. This is a look back at Celia Martin, as you say, spinning out of the final corner. Good spot there, Opin. That was right at the top of the screen. Don't know how you saw that one, but who's in the lead of this race?
It looks like it's Sellers now.
So where is Cacabueno? He's down in 6th place according to the timing tower. There's Simon Evans up into 3rd position. And yeah, there's Bueno. So the 2 Brazilian cars are at the back. I think Bueno went in deep into turn 1.
7 seconds slower than he would normally do in sector 1. So definitely something happened there.
Yeah, so there is Cacabueno from the lead, and from a reasonably commanding lead, to be honest. He had a good interval up at the front. He has now dropped all the way back into 6th position.
Yeah, it's always tricky. These they're all young. They're kind of shooting's always tricky, these kind of conditions, because the track is actually drying out. So as a driver, you're always kind of chipping away from your braking distances for each corner, or when the track is getting drier and drier. But obviously, yeah, sometimes if you then just hit that little bit of wet spot, still you're being called out.
So Brian Sellers it is who leads the way. We're on board with Daryl O'Young in 4th position, which is a good performance from him so far.
You can see the street circuit, so many different types of tarmac and surface here in Hong Kong. Many lines for everyday traffic, and those lines are the ones that are particularly slippery in wet conditions.
16.5 minutes to go. Sellers leading, Legg 2nd, Evans 3rd. Those 2 teammates there had a 1-2 last time out in Mexico City, but in the other order. And it's Yachi Shang who is leading the Pro-Am class in 7th place. There you can see the gaps at the bottom between the top 6 pro drivers. I mean, Daryl O'Young's in a VIP invitation class, but he's certainly been a pro driver in the past. And the highest VIP car has finished is Alice Powell in Adiria in 5th place.
Amber O'Young with their daughter, Errol's wife.
He's right in the fight here, isn't he, for the lead? He's not letting them get away.
not at all. First time out for him here in this Jaguar I-PRIX E-Trophy cars, and right up there with the leaders. And it actually shows also these cars. We've seen so much close racing this season, and everyone, you know, that gets in as a pro driver seems to be able to get up to the speed and extract the most out of it, which is great to see.
Someone's slowing there. Is that Lin? I think getting out of the way there on the left. Oh, I think his car might be crabbing a little bit. Doesn't look all good for the Chinese driver who's down in 12th place at the moment. Just about. Everyone squeezing around him for Qilin. He must have some kind of problem out there. I don't think we'll see him. Oh, I can hear a scraping actually. Is that the floor?
The wheel crank on the left front side. It's interesting to see here into turn 6, some dry patches appearing on the inside. Interesting enough, the tarmac being more slippery than the concrete we find here into 6 and the entry of 7.
On board with Darrell Young again, trying to get past Simon Evans in front, the Kiwi, who won the opening race and is second in the championship, 1 point behind Catherine Legg. But Oh Young is the man who, as I say that, he drops away a little bit through those final couple of corners, but he looked like the man most likely to make a move out of the top 4 as they come over the line once again. On that last lap, as you can see, Darrell Young was 800ths quicker. He gets so close to him coming into the hairpin, look.
Yeah, being very strong on the brakes here. These I-PRIX E-Trophy cars equipped with ABS, but possible for the drivers to change the settings of this ABS, making it basically more aggressive or giving the driver more control on the braking.
Stefan Radzinski's coming to the pits, whereas Qilin still seems to be driving around there. He's been given the black flag with the orange disc, so he's got to come into the pits and sort himself out. 13.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. At the moment it's fairly steady up at the front. Sellers leading from Legg, and there is Cacabueno, who threw the lead away, we think, in the opening stages. Looked as though he just went straight on at the first corner. And so it's Sellers, Legg and Evans who are the top 3. There they are. Sellers, Legg, Evans, Oh Young. Those top 4 a little bit ahead of Sergio Jimenez as we look on board with Darrell Oh Young.
Very nice to see his eyes. He's always trying to look forward and into the corner. Try to look at, well, obviously looking in the mirror here to see where Jimenez is, but try to look far always into the corner towards the apex and exit. You always tend to look 1 or 2 stages ahead of where you're actually going.
Legg is starting to drop back a little from Brian Sellers now. The gap at the front is up to 1.5 seconds. Legg was 7/10 slower than Sellers on that last lap, so it's coming towards Simon Evans and Darrell Oh Young. Is it easier, if you're Darrell Oh Young and you're out there sort of learning the car by yourself, do you get up to speed quicker sort of when the race comes and you can just stick with the car in front of you?
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely, especially when you follow a more experienced guy who's got more knowledge about the car, just give you a bit of an idea, especially in these conditions. I mean, sometimes we joke, you know, you never want to be the first guy that goes off into turn 1 braking late.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same here. If you see the car in front of you actually trying to brake late and going a bit wide, it just gives you an indication you've got to be slightly earlier. Or the other way around, of course.
Yeah.
Seeing some dry patches appearing here and there, and those are also a little bit difficult stages every now and then, because it means that you have to push, but as soon as you hit a wet spot, wetter spot I would say, you'll instantly lose the grip.
So Cacabueno there, running down in 6th place. He's the man who started on pole position. Late on the brakes into Tamar Park at turn 1. Started on pole position, but then this is what happened. Look up in the distance, and yeah. So that's what happened. He went off at turn 1 and then had to stick it into reverse. He didn't actually quite go down the escape road, but that's where he lost all the places, Cacabueno. How frustrating will that be? A very uncharacteristic mistake for a very experienced driver. That was Darrell Oh Young's view as he passed him up against the wall there.
just being called out by the conditions there. Yeah, ever-changing track conditions, making it tricky.
Oh, Ahmed bin Kanen is going slow here.
Big damage on the front there. Wonder where he has hit.
The start of that last lap, bin Kanen. Well, no, he's lost about 12 seconds in the first sector, so it would have happened presumably down at the first corner, but we'll see if we can find that one as well. Look how close Darlow Young is in the all-blue machine up on the back of the Team Singapore entry of 99, Simon Evans. Oh, Young looks like the man most likely to make a move, doesn't he?
Yeah, he definitely does. And one thing that we will also see likely is some drivers actually having an advantage now when it starts to dry up. All these Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy cars, all spec cars, you say, all identical, but each driver can make their own setup adjustments. Handbars, anti-roll bars, shock absorbers, but also tire pressures. And especially in these conditions, tire pressures are crucial for performance. If you think it's going to be very wet, a lot of water, standing water on the circuit, you want to run with higher pressure generally. So, but then when it dries out, you will definitely lose performance because the tire will overheat. So maybe that's an explanation why perhaps Sellers is also starting to slightly pull away from Catherine Deck.
Oh, Young went pretty deep into turn 5, now into the hairpin right-hander. He goes in deeper than Evans at pretty much every corner, doesn't he?
That just doesn't seem to be able to get on the power as well. Seems to be a bit of traffic coming up for Catherine Leg there. Nice onboard shot, shows how tight this Hong Kong E-PRIX circuit is. A real typical street circuit. The walls very close everywhere, especially in sectors 2 and 3.
9 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Oh, Young again, deep in. At some point he's going to send a lunge, isn't he? But is it tricky for Oh Young because on the one hand he's got nothing to lose. On the other hand, he doesn't really want to wipe out a title contender unnecessarily.
Yeah, well, we've seen last race in Mexico where Salvador Run got quite aggressive in the race and, well, mixed up the entire running order basically. So that's definitely something you would not like to do as a driver. And especially here, you don't want to make a lunge from far away now.
And there is over at the side of the road Lin, but his teammate Chang is leading the Pro-Am class at the moment, the class for the less experienced drivers. Stefan Radzinski out of the race with that damage earlier on.
Yeah, he touched someone and suspected damage on the cooling system of the car.
So that's what's happened to Stefan Radzinski, we believe. Still Darlow Young tucked right up behind Simon Evans. Great to see him on the podium, Oh Young, wouldn't it, as they come around the final corner. There is the Pro-Am standings. It's Chang in front of Alasai at the moment. It'll be the first time Alasai hasn't won a race yet this season.
You could see Oh Young there hesitating whether he was going to move on the inside, but Evans being very strategically in the middle of the track, being able to move either side. Only one move allowed. One change of direction basically from your line.
Brian Sellers is though leading the way. Catherine Legg in second place as the fans gather up on the balconies at Hong Kong Station and in the shopping mall that's inside the International Finance Centre, overlooking the second corner on the track where there's a lot of action to unfold. Sellers leading, Legg second, Evans third. And if it stayed like this, Sellers would take the lead in the championship. Now, I'm not quite sure what Lin's up to. I think he's stopped on track now. Well, we just saw him stopped on track, but I think that's sort of permanent because he was given the black flag with orange disc, come back to the pits, but I don't think he's been able to make it back to the pits with 6 minutes plus a lap to go. And fastest lap of the race that last time around was Sergio Jimenez in the Team Brazil entries. 1 minute 21.995, and that has brought him and Cacabueno kind of right onto the back of this train for the lead. And Yachi Zhang actually is doing a great job staying with them. He's the Pro-Am leader, but he's at the back of this queue of pro cars.
Yeah, he's been really well on the pace since the very first lap of Shakedown. And the same has to be said from Caca Bueno, so I'm pretty sure he's extremely frustrated. Dominated, Shakedown, pre-practice and qualifying early on. And yeah, finds himself only in 6th place now after the mistake in turn 1.
Been Cannon limping around there still as well, and a full course yellow is deployed. Caca Bueno's not finished higher than 4th this season, and he's one of the only 4 people to have done that. And as you see, Oli Grotowski, the race director there with the sleeves rolled up on the sort of bottom right-hand side. He is the man who deploys the full course yellow, and that will be so that Lin can reverse off the track and get out of the way. Chi Lin.
Yeah, you can see clearly the orange marking here on the wall. Orange markings always indicating that there's a space that can fit a car.
So waiting for the full course yellow to end, which I imagine it will do pretty soon.
My teammate and team owner, Jackie Chan DC Racing and World Endurance Championship, David Cheng.
So the boss.
The boss.
The boss. Right, green flag racing. We're underway again. Brian Sellers leading the way. Catherine Legg in 2nd place. Mitch Evans in 3rd. Darrell O'Young in 4th, and O'Young has not got a good restart here. Sergio Jimenez, does he fancy a lunge? Oh, he does, that's late. And he crunches his way through. Darrell O'Young will try and hold on, gives him a little biff back of his own, and that's going to allow Caca Bueno the inside line. And Caca Bueno gets past 2, so Darrell O'Young drops 2 positions. And they come down into the right-hander, and O'Young's fighting back. Can't quite do it. He's actually got to defend from Chang now as well, with 4 minutes plus a lap to go.
Yeah, aggressive move there from Jimenez. He was hesitant. Actually, O'Young fending off the inside line quite well, but then just didn't close up well enough.
I think it was the restart where it all went wrong for Darrell O'Young, really.
Yeah. Then just being too late to close up. Yeah, obviously then aggressive again. But turn 1 seems to be the place to overtake, and then yeah, it's being so tight, so it's almost impossible with the turning radius of these cars to then actually get through clean, let's say.
So Brian Sellers leading, 2nd for Catherine Legg, 3rd for Simon Evans, and Evans, having been released from Darrell O'Young behind, is now pretty close to the back of Catherine Legg for that 2nd spot. So Brian Sellers is pulling clear, then Legg 2nd and Evans 3rd is the closest battle on the circuit, and again, Legg just covering the inside line, a little bit of a nudge from Jimenez there as they exit the hairpin at Tamar Park and head up towards Hong Kong Station. Sellers looking pretty comfortable, actually, 1.5 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, he's just controlling the race at the moment. At this moment, you just try to be clean, make no mistakes. Of course, you'll be on the limit of the car, but you just don't have to take that huge risk every braking zone. You know, some place, as a driver, you know which areas you can actually take a bit more risk without any consequences if you make a mistake. Especially these conditions, this is ever tricky because the track grip is constantly changing.
So after saying Simon Evans was right on the back of Catherine Legg, it's now Sergio Jimenez that looks the most racy. And this is a good drive actually from Jimenez, started in 12th on the grid, and he's now looking at trying to get onto the podium, which would be really a good achievement for the Brazilian, formerly teammates with Lewis Hamilton back in Formula Renault in the UK in the early 2000s.
Simon Evans didn't have a nice entry on that last corner just now, a bit too tight, and he immediately sees Jimenez being close on his rear bumper again.
We saw that Evans was a little earlier on the brakes compared to Darrell O'Young, and we know that Jimenez is aggressive, and he gives him a little bump from behind to let him know he's there, as if Simon Evans hadn't realised.
Lost both headlights now.
Yeah, good job it's not dark. With a minute 23 plus 1 lap to go. Into the right-hander at Hong Kong Station. Sellers still leading. Gap came down actually on that last lap by half a second. Down to under 1 second, 9/10 to be precise. And look at that. Jimenez having to defend now from Cacabueno. So all of a sudden, that little nudge between Jimenez and Evans seems to have cost Jimenez a bit of pace. Is that going to allow Bueno the opportunity? They're about to start the penultimate lap of the race now. And Simon Evans says the fastest lap of the race on that tour. So the Kiwi with a 1:21.801 finds a bit of speed, and that's late on the brakes from Jimenez. He's going to hit Evans. Oh, just misses him. But that means Cacabueno gets the cut back. The two Brazilians hip and shoulder each other. And Jimenez holds onto the place just about. So late on the brakes there, Jimenez. Thought he was going to career into the back of Evans. Now we're on board with Darrell Young, who's behind Bueno and wouldn't mind getting a position or two back. Brian Sellers leading, leg second. Evans third. Here's a look at the replay. And Jimenez, he's just not stopping it. Car starts to twitch. Oh, I think he just about didn't hit Simon Evans, and then the two hit rear to rear, and they both go sliding around. Brian Sellers through the final corner, which is this left-hander at turn 10. And he will now start the final lap of the race. Catherine Legg behind him. The gap's back up to 1.6 seconds. Yachi Chang now is the man closest to making a move. He's in the white car at the back, the leader of the Pro-Am class. The dominant leader of the Pro-Am class. He's 47 seconds ahead of anyone else in that class. Superb performance from Chang. Finished fourth in class in Adiria, retired at the last race in Mexico City, but now Yachi Chang looks as though he's found his mojo. Into turn 2 at Hong Kong Station. Through Tamar Park and then into the Man-Po chicane. And then up towards the Ferris wheel and the... Oh, there's some late lunges coming in there. Darrell Young was so late on the brakes. Last real braking spot on the circuit. So Darrell Young's put in a good performance, 6th place for him. He was battling for the podium earlier on. But Brian Sellers is the man in Hong Kong. Through the final corner comes the American, and he wins the Hong Kong race of the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy Series. Oh, Simon Evans off and in the wall. Jimenez got the podium at the final corner, and Evans is classified 4th. A shake of the head. And we'll have to wait and see what the assessment is there from the stewards, because that looked forceful from Jimenez. But it's Sellers who takes the win and the lead of the championship. Simon Evans' car isn't moving, and isn't going to be moving, because you can see his right rear, the left as we look at it, is all bent out of shape. But how did Jimenez figure he was going to get through there? I don't know. No doubt we'll have a look at that again. But the winner of round 3 of the championship is Brian Sellers for Rahal Letterman Racing. And Amanda said at the top of the show, to him rather rudely, that he's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. That's not true now. So here, look at that. Jimenez is up the inside into turn 10. And Evans has 2 big hits on the wall. I don't know how Jimenez got up the inside there. That's what I can't quite figure out. Oh, that's a mad move from Jimenez. If that 3rd place stands, it would be quite the surprise. Obviously, it's up to the stewards. But a sort of mostly flat-out left-hander. Big hit on the barriers. was the reaction in the race centre to Simon Evans' retirement. He's sitting in the car, presumably just waiting for the medical car to come around. Here's a look at the results in round 3 of the championship as they cross the line. Brian Sellers taking the win, 3.3 seconds ahead of Catherine Legg. Dominant performance from the American. Sergio Jimenez nerfing Simon Edgens into the wall at the last corner to take 3rd place. Darrell Young, the VIP driver, finishing in 6th. Yachi Shang finishing in 7th and winning the Pro-Am class, with Ahmed Bin Kanen completing the top 10. Celia Martin getting a podium in the Pro-Am class, and Chi Lin and Stefan Radzinski not classified. So, an entertaining race in the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy Series. Let's go down for all the reaction with Vernon Kay and Amanda Stretton.
All right, thank you, Jack. Yes, what a race. Where do we start? I mean, it seems that every time we watch an I-Pace E-Trophy race, there is so much content and not enough time for us to talk about. I mean, hoping you've joined us from the commentary booth. That was an epic battle.
Yeah, interesting thing is the man of the race, let's say, when it comes to contact, Sergio Jimenez, he whispered to me in Mexico, these cars are so equal, it's so hard to race. Without nudging each other, you can almost not overtake. So he showed that here, definitely. Bit too hot, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I would say he certainly nudged. But also Brian. I mean, Brian just took his time. He didn't rush in. I called him the bridesmaid. He's now the bride.
He's done it. Obviously helped by the little mistake from Caca Bueno, which had big consequences for him. But yeah, Brian, flawless race. Good launch, safe on the inside for the first corner, and then just controlled it after he got the lead.
And so how difficult? I mean, we talked about the fact the cars are four-wheel drive, so obviously they're going to have slightly better traction. But I mean, how difficult is it when you're actually in these racing conditions to keep control of the car and not make mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, the all-wheel drive system definitely helps for traction. But one thing that you really also experience in these conditions is the ABS. The cars are equipped with ABS. However, the ever changing track conditions, becoming drier basically every lap, really gives you a challenge, because you always want to try to chip away from your braking distance every time, but obviously until you reach the limit. And you've seen that with Bueno happening, yeah.
Do you think they were happy that we didn't have any sudden downpours of rain during the race, like we've been having?
Wait, you said it, Amanda.
I know, it is starting to spot
just as you said it.
Sorry guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You could even see some dry patches every here and there. And you could also see, it looked like some drivers probably gambled on the track being very wet, and some for the track to be slightly drier in terms of the setup of their cars. So some drivers, yeah, especially Sellers, seemed to be able to, as soon as the track started to dry a bit, he was able to pull a gap towards Catherine Legg.
Now, I've just got one more question about the start of that race, because we saw people make up position and we saw people getting really heavily blocked in. Do you think that was some of the more experienced drivers really taking calculated risks and, if you like, guesses on, obviously it was going to be a pinch point there going around that 180-degree corner?
Well, I mean, honestly, being on the inside is the safest place you can be. And you could see Caca Bueno doing this, of course, is understandable. He's on pole position. Brian Sellers then obviously has got no other place to go, perhaps. However, if you take the outside line there, as we saw with Catherine, there's an empty track in front of you. You can just pick the braking distance you want rather than having to anticipate on the car in front of you. And that's why she just managed to pass, 3 cars in just one corner. Unbelievable.
And also Pro-Ams. I mean, we saw some major action going on there and some really solid performances.
Yeah, Celia Martin obviously doing the same as Catherine Legg into turn 1 and finding herself in the lead of Pro-Am all of a sudden. Lots of contact there as well, many damaged cars from what I could have seen. Definitely a good race for that championship as well.
I know I was talking about it not raining.
No, it is raining now, Amanda. You did jinx it, but well done.
Yeah, sorry.
We don't have an umbrella, but that's all right. Just quickly, one question I want to ask you, Hopin, is about Catherine and Brian being in the same team, and obviously they're competing all the time. Where do you draw the line between being a teammate and being a competitor?
I mean, rule number 1 is always don't take your teammate out. So we saw a lot of aggressive driving here today, and also, of course, previous round in Mexico. But yeah, you would never lunge or dive bomb, as we call it, your teammate in such a way like we've seen today with many overtaking maneuvers. Yeah, so they'll race hard, but I'm pretty sure they'll race safe.
Now let's just talk about that move that happened at the very end of the race with poor old Simon Evans. I mean, do you think he really was expecting a move by Jimenez there? And I mean, Jimenez has obviously made up great ground.
All the way from the back.
He'd started at the very back. So do you think Simon was expecting that?
It's actually a shame because Sergio did such a great race, coming all the way from last place on the grid after the performance of qualifying. Finding himself in 4th place at the finish would have been a great result. These cars are so similar to each other. The drivers are so close to each other with only a few hundred separating them every lap. You can't just brake 10 meters later than anyone else. It's simply not possible.
So do you think Simon will be having words?
He'll be, I think that we would have beeped it away from the TV.
I have to say, the rain is now bouncing off your shoulder onto my face.
Going back to Simon Evans, that's 2 races in a row now where his kind of competitive edge has been lost because of a crash and an accident. He must be absolutely fuming. How do you pick up after something like that?
I think Mexico is a slightly different story because he got hit very early on in the race, bending his steering and therefore really compromising the pace of his car. Here he found himself in a position where arguably he might have had the pace to overtake, but yeah, never was in a position. You can't really brake that much later or make such an aggressive move when another driver doesn't make a mistake. You just wait basically for someone to make a mistake ahead of you.
Now there was a lot of contact. Here we have race winner coming to join us now. Oh no, not race winner. No, we've got Sergio coming to join us first of all.
Sergio, what a race! Congratulations.
It was difficult.
Well, it looked difficult, but I mean to come all the way from the back, all the way to the front, well done. Tell us about what your feelings were, what your thoughts were going through the field.
Well, we have a problem in the qualifying. It didn't lap. And
so kind. Always the gentleman, Brian.
And we have to take the spare car, and I don't know the car, so we put the same setup, but it was never is the same old car. So I went and it was okay, it was good, but in the end my brakes started to fail a little bit. It was difficult to drive. I need to manage all the braking. Slippery a lot. I mean, the track should come dry, but it was slippery more and more passing the lap, so it was difficult, but it was good for me. I was fast and passing the guys. So.
Do you know what? I think you should ask for that car again because it seemed to work well.
No, it was not bad, but the car is very, very eco, and yeah, I got a good race, I have to say.
All right, thank you.
Well, you were the bridesmaid, you're now the bride, and you're my best friend because you got an umbrella.
Makeup look pretty and everything still. I mean, it's a great day for everybody at Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Like, you know, you're just really happy. It's I was a little bit jealous of Kat in Mexico because she drove such a great race, but it was able to be flipped this time. And, you know, we just need to keep building and continuing this way. Obviously, Sergio had another great race coming from the back, so that'd be fun to watch how he made his way back through.
Yeah, I'm not sure Simon Evans thinks it was quite as much fun. He lost out literally on turn 10 there at the very end, so that was difficult. But we'll come to that in a second. First of all, let's just talk about the moment that Kaka outbraked himself. Did you think that might be coming? Did he look like he was pushing a bit hard, or did you just think it was the conditions?
No, for sure he pushed hard. I mean, for me in the beginning, I thought, man, if he can continue this pace, then the race is his right away, because I personally wasn't willing to push that hard that fast, and it looks like it caught him out just a little bit. I mean, you know, the difficulty in these conditions, the difference between a half a car length on the brakes is significant, right? And he didn't go in that hot. He just got a little too late, a little too damp, and he was wide, couldn't get it turned around the corner. So sometimes it's your day, I guess.
Do you think if he hadn't made a mistake there, that you would have actually had the opportunity to pass him just on pace?
No, I doubt it. I mean, honestly, you know, I'd like to say yes, but the cars are so evenly matched, and when you get up to the top three, it becomes very difficult, and he's had pace all weekend. I mean, he basically led every session, and I was right behind him every session, so it would have taken a mistake like that for me to get around. But, you know, I say that you never know what happens in the race, but it definitely would have been a different race from my perspective. You know, I could kind of sit back with knowing Kat was there and know she wasn't going to make a dive bomb move on me and just control the pace a little bit.
Enjoy that champagne. Congratulations, Brian.
All right, thank you. Catherine, talk us through it. Another successful race for yourself, surely?
Yeah, I don't think it could have gone any better, really. There was no way I was going to have a go at Brian. You know, he protected me in Mexico, so we just kind of chilled out. We didn't have a very eventful race until the last lap where I thought somebody might have a go, so I kind of just braked really early and stepped him up. But yeah, Team Rahal won too, so Bobby will be happy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you guys are absolutely flying, and we talked about the alleged rivalry between yourselves in the team, and then obviously you race against each other in the States as well. But it seems like you have a great relationship with each other when it comes to driving and understanding.
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, we've been friends for a lot of years, and there's just a lot of mutual respect there. You know, I remember like 10 years ago or more, we were racing against each other in the lower formula cars. And so when you know what somebody else is capable of and you know they're your teammate, you try and make the most of that, you know, and learn as much as you can from them.
Were you aware of everything that was going on behind you?
No, I heard though, because you know you can't hear anything in these cars, like engine-wise or anything. So I heard smash, bang, wallop. And
there was a lot of that.
And I looked behind me and I saw parts flying, so I can't wait to see the replay.
And what was your reaction when you saw Caca Bueno just go straight on at the first turn?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's tough when you're under pressure. That's why I kind of hung back from Brian a little bit as well, because I wanted him to know that there was no pressure. Because in these conditions, it's so easy to make a mistake, and I made one or two. You know, it's easy just to lock an inside brake up or do something like that. So when I saw that, I was thinking, what, how, why? And then when I managed to get around the inside as well, I was just thinking, wow, 1, 2. Okay, don't crash, Catherine. Just don't throw it off.
Well, it looked like a lot of fun. There you go. Amanda?
Thanks very much, Vernon. Yes, my bride has now left with the umbrella, so I'm here. But instead, I've been joined by Pro-Am winner, Yaki Shan. Well done. You have finally, I mean, thank you. We've seen Bandar really dominating the Pro-Am category up till now. You kept your head.
Yeah, but my plan is wrong. Because for the start, I want to keep the inside and follow the front cars, but in case it's traffic, too much traffic, and I got like a triple Q. Some people heard me like 3 times. And but after one lap, every car got some gap, safety gap, so I just want like keep in my position and to stay in the track and finish the race, because I don't want to get any trouble with the pro class because they are fighting too aggressive. Yeah.
So were you, I mean, obviously there was so much carnage in that race. Was your strategy from the beginning just keep calm, keep your pace, keep steady?
Yeah. Well, pardon?
Don't worry about it. Listen, congratulations to you. Awesome result. And now let's just remind ourselves of all the action in that race.
The third race of the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy got off to a thrilling start. Catherine Legge and Celia Martin going around the outside at turn 1, and they really managed to gain a lot of places. Legge managed to get up into 3rd position. You can see the traffic down at the first corner. Everybody threaded their way through. Sergio Jimenez, who started at the back, managed to gain 4 places. A bit of debris was lost here and there. But up at the front, it was Caca Bueno, seemingly in control of the race. Sergio Jimenez managed to get past Stefan Radzinski, and Yati Shang took the lead of the Pro-Am class with a forceful move on Celia Martin. But then Caca Bueno, all by himself, went off at the first corner, handing the lead to Brian Sellers. The American in front of his Rahal Letterman-Lanigan teammate, Catherine Legge. Celia Martin was having a good race, but then a big slide and spin dropped her behind Bincannon. Daryl O'Young's wife watched on as he was overtaken by Sergio Jimenez, but he was the VIP driver for the weekend, so it was still an impressive drive from the Hong Konger, the local man with a huge amount of experience. There was some fantastic fighting throughout the order for the lower places, because Sellers and Legge up at the front in 1st and 2nd were incredibly impressive. Sergio Jimenez was super late on the brakes. That almost allowed his teammate Caca Bueno through. The two had a bit of a hip and shoulder, but Jimenez managed to hold on to the position. But Brian Sellers came out of the final corner to win, but the battle for 3rd was finished over the line as Jimenez hit Simon Evans. So that meant that Brian Sellers takes the victory and the lead of the championship after the 3rd round of the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy Series.
nose camera.
And this was Andre Lotterer getting bulked at the chicane, but everybody made it through.
What happened there, him and Bird went into the chicane side by side, and he tried to muscle around the outside of Sam Bird, and Sam was having none of it and just pushed him wide, and you saw the result. There's been a few sort of rivalries this season because the cars can race this closely all the time. And so some of the drivers are starting to get a bit fed up with each other, and they're driving into each other a little bit, and they want to know what the rules are, what they can and cannot get away with.
So now the race is red flagged. We will get a 10-minute warning when the race is about to restart, once they've cleared the damage away from outside Hong Kong Station down at turn 2. And that is Edoardo Mortara, who's currently in 6th position, the Italian-Swiss racer.
Had a 3-place penalty in qualifying for overspeeding under a red flag. He was leading the race, or one of the races here in Hong Kong last season, and with 1 lap to go, tried to go for the fastest lap and crashed. So that was wasn't a high point.
There's Pascal Wehrlein returning to the pits the 2nd time this season that he has retired from a race. Twice in 4 races he's been out in the early stages, and that's him gone. I'm afraid those fan boosts won't do him any good now. They've also managed to get Nasser away, so actually this is going to be a pretty short stoppage, you know, because they've already got one of the Mahindras up and around and down the other side of the road there. They've got Felipe Nasser's car away as well, so I think there's just one Mahindra left to move. So hopefully within the next 15 minutes or so, I would have thought, we would be back racing.
Some of the drivers are out of the cars. That will take as long as anything, I think, to get the guys back in. You see Oliver Rowland, our race leader, in the Nissan overalls in front of you.
So the 3 cars in white on the left-hand tower, they are out of the race.
Attention all teams, this is a 10-minute warning. 10-minute warning for the restart of the race.
Okay, so there we go.
Restart in 10 minutes.
The restart in 10 minutes. So Nasser, Wehrlein and D'Ambrosio out of the race. Piquet's returned to the pits, so technically he is still in the race. So less than 10 minutes to go before the race starts again. Let's down to the pits and Nikki Shields.
Jerome D'Ambrosio, obviously not the situation we thought we'd end up in. Just talk us through what happened from your point of view.
No, I think it's ridiculous. You know, if you get a guy like Nasser, you know, having obviously something really wrong in his car, causing a huge amount of smoke. We couldn't see on the straight line. His car was going to break down at one point, which is what happened in the middle of a corner, caused the collision. Both his team, you know, Dragon and him should have just, they should have told him to pit. He should have pit. And there should be a clear penalty for next race because he caused a collision. It's dangerous. We're driving on tight circuits, and if your car is not going to finish the race, obviously you should just pit and make it safe and then go back out. You shouldn't wait for the control tower to tell you that when it's so obvious. So yeah, it's disappointing. We took it easy with Pascal. We knew there was going to be incidents. Unfortunately, it was us as well. But very poor job, poor standards from both his team and him not to pit earlier.
Really tough day for you. You know, obviously you came in at the top of the Drivers' Championship, also the top of the Teams' Championship as well, but unlikely that you'll stay there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter at this stage. You know, at this stage what matters is try to maximize everything. We didn't do it today. We got to focus on next race and do it then.
Okay. All right, thanks very much for talking to us, Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Thanks for that, Nikki. So a shake of the head, and Dilbag Gill, the team boss there at Mahindra, understands the situation, shakes his head as well, and that's both of them out of the race. Jerome D'Ambrosio very critical of his former team, Dragon, who he spent 4 years with until this year. Race will restart at 16:25 local time. That is in about 7 or 8 minutes time.
Now we've got attack mode. We talked about the attack mode activation zone and the inside of turn 6. I wonder how many people are going to activate it just as they come to the green flag to restart the race. Let's go on board with Sam Bird, heads to the outside.
What a start.
Squeezed into the wall. Look, he was locked up there, Sam. He did a very good job because you could see the car was moving sideways. The front tires were locked. Now watch what he does here. He goes to the outside again. Everybody's going to defend to the inside. And Sam's going to, it's a risky move.
I don't quite know how he's going to gain 2 places here.
Well, watch what happens with the Mahindra, with the DS Techeetah on the outside, this gold car on his right. Now watch, they're going to start muscling each other a little bit. He's just going to push a little wide. And then the Techeetah hits the barrier. Great. Nothing dirty about it, just very strong, robust driving from Sam Bird.
This is on board with Mitch Evans, who started down in 17th place on the grid. A lot of wheel spin. You hear that chirping. That's the wheels just spinning without getting any grip. And he comes down into turn 1, and it's just a wall of smoke. Oh, makes it through. Goes past his teammate Piquet, so that's where Piquet got involved in a bit of bumping at the start in the other Jaguar. And then he comes down towards turn 2, the right-hander. Looks to the outside. That's a brave one. Is he going to pull that one off?
He went between because one of the Neos went down the escape road.
No, he didn't quite manage to get past the Audi, but still gained one position.
Look how slow it's going through there. Everybody just slowing down.
On board with Jean-Eric Verne now, who started in 18th place on the grid. So that's Mitch Evans, the car in front of us, who we were just on board with. We're still under red flag conditions here in Hong Kong.
Here, Jean-Eric's just not even full throttle on the straight, just looking for a gap. And there isn't one.
So that's Scott Elkin saying the new length of the race in total from when the lights went out will be 58 minutes and 19 seconds plus 1 lap.
It looked like Nelson Piquet and the other Jaguar went down the escape road as well. Just as Jean-Eric Verne was trying to get through turn 2.
This is on board with Wehrlein in the Mahindra. Gets a decent start to get alongside Antonio Felix da Costa.
This is right at the back of the grid. This is from the back. He got hit. Was that his teammate? Because his teammate was the only person behind him.
Yeah, he was 21st on the grid. And they just wanted to get around that first corner in one piece, didn't they? So that they could then attack in the rest of the race, ironically.
Being very cautious. There's no point getting taken out of the first corner, and what happened to them was definitely not their fault. It looked like both the Dragon cars were actually smoking shortly before the incident that took both Mahindras out of the race. Just watch how frustrating this must be for the drivers. Just it slows down, almost stops, but there's nowhere for them to go. It's such a tight section of track through turns 3 and 4. And you hear the instant torque of an electric motor just spinning the tires up over the wet bed of the track. But as we sit here on the red, the track is continuing to dry.
So we are about, well, less than 5 minutes away from the restart of this race. And can't wait to get it back underway here in Hong Kong. You can see the track is down to the bottom right there. In the middle, you've got all of the skyscrapers, the Hong Kong observation wheel, the central pier where the Star Ferry takes people back and forth from Hong Kong Island and over to Kowloon. But let's go back down to the pits before we get back underway to Vernon Kay.
I'm here with Sylvain Philippe, team principal of Envision Virgin. Let's talk about Sam's start. Phenomenal.
Yeah, incredible. We did told him to take it easy a bit at the front, and it's not what he did. But it's what happens, you know. When the track is wet, you find yourself in a good position, and you find opportunities, and it's what he did. And we all know Sam is good at that, so yeah.
But it's a fine balance between being aggressive because the cars are so fragile and having a race plan in the back of your mind, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think at the beginning it's not so much about the race plan, he just found the space. He was there at the right place at the right time, and he took it. The handling of the car is good, and he took the opportunity, right? So he didn't actually take that many risks when you look back. He was just at the right place, right time. So.
We mentioned at the beginning of the show that he's like a little pit bull, isn't he? He's like so aggressive at times, and he just proved exactly everything what we said earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely, but he's not the only one. Yeah? There are others like him around on the grid. So, and look, it's a long race to go. You know? A red flag just at the beginning, it's a bit annoying because you get off balance and you lose the rhythm. So at the end of the day, we still have a long race to go. So, you know.
All right, thank you, Sylvain.
So I am very pleased to say that I'm here with singer-songwriter Liam Payne. Liam, great to have you here. This, well, we sort of lined up a procession of cars for you. This wasn't intentional.
I didn't know this was part of the package, but it's great.
Exactly. What do you make of, I mean, I know you've only seen a couple of laps of Formula E so far until the red flag.
I mean, obviously it's the first wet race they've ever had here. I mean, it's still not raining, luckily enough, but there's been a lot of drama so far. Obviously, with one team already out, so crazy.
I know, there has been a lot of drama. It's not ideal having this red flag, but hopefully the cars will get out on track shortly. Now, I believe you're a bit of a car fan, and I know you shouldn't read everything, believe everything that you read online, but I did read that you have bought a magical car from Harry Potter, flying car, I believe, is that true?
Unfortunately it doesn't fly, but yeah, I did when I was a bit younger. I bought one of the cars from the Harry Potter films when a drunken bird just, oh, something's happening. We're back out, I think.
Almost.
Yeah, no, I did. That was one of the things I did do, yeah.
That is amazing. Okay, so you bought a flying car. Would you consider buying a Formula E car?
I mean, look at it. It looks amazing. Is this Stoffel? who's in.
That is Stoffel van Dorn, yes.
I've got him trending 5th worldwide with for the fan boost thing.
Have you?
Yeah. So hopefully that'll help him out somewhere.
Well, he might need it. I mean, he's looking good so far today, actually. He's having a pretty good race so far, but extra fan boost support is always good.
I mean, that's such a great thing to have in a sport, that you can go online and actually make a difference in the race, which is quite cool. So I thought I'd join him.
Yeah, it is. It's well, it's a very unique element of Formula E, as many things are like they're electric. Well, Liam, enjoy the rest of the race. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these cars up close and personal.
Yeah, no,
and we'll see you at the end. We'll see how Stoffel gets on as well. Back to you guys in commentary.
Thanks, Nikki. Great to hear from everyone down in the pit lane, and Liam Payne included, as the cars now are lined up, all the drivers back in, and we've just got a minute until they rejoin the circuit. Some of you asking, using the hashtag Hong Kong E-Prix, why there's a 10-minute warning, and that's simply so the drivers, when they come back to the pits, it's not like, oh, guys, we're going now, where is everyone? It gives everyone enough time to get ready, fire up the cars, get back in the cars, and be safely ready for the restart. The race will restart behind the safety car, and then after one lap, possibly two, the safety car will pull in, and racing will get back underway again here in Hong Kong, and we should have another 35 minutes or so. Now, one thing that may happen when they go out behind the safety car is the use of the attack mode, because if you take it under the safety car, you gain the extra power, an extra 25 kilowatts, going from 200 to 225 kilowatts, but you lose the opportunity to be overtaken, because you can't be overtaken while you're behind the safety car. So a lot of the teams thinking this could be an opportunity to go through attack mode.
The trick there is going to be timing it so you activate attack mode as you come to the green flag. We've seen it in races past when people have tried to do it. They've almost done it one lap too early and burnt a bunch of attack mode power behind the safety car, as you say, when you cannot pass. It's a great shot of Sam Bird.
Yeah. If we'd have seen that at the start, it would have just been cars disappearing behind him. Left, right, left, right, left, right. So, a British 1-2 up at the front. Oliver Rowland leading Sam Bird. Stoffel van Dorn is in third place for the HWA team.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
And the safety car...
we should do as we discussed.
Will be coming in this lap.
Get some brake and tyre temps.
That's Stephen Lane, Sam Bird's engineer. And doing as we discussed, one imagines is go through...
So you should still be in power 3.
Attack mode activation zone.
You should get some heat in the tyres and the brakes.
Copy. Blue 3266, green 5594.
He's just making up numbers now, I think.
These are the kind of information that the teams and drivers in particular have to feed back to the team throughout the lap.
All the stuff on the steering wheel, and they're talking in somewhat in code as well, because they don't want other teams to know, because other teams are listening. But they said get temperature in the brakes and the tyres. The tyres and the brakes have an operating window, and you've got to get them up into that operating window, particularly the brakes, with the carbon brakes. So they actually, when you press the pedal, you get some deacceleration, and that's what everybody's working. Watch everybody as they come out of this next corner, go over to the right-hand side, their right, into the attack mode activation zone.
So is everyone going to go through it? They move to the right-hand side, and yep, it looks as though everyone is going to arm their attack mode. They'll all have an extra 25 kilowatts of power, and Rowland, I think, has armed it and then gone. So he's going to really spread out the pack. Daniel Abt decides not to. That's quite interesting, but everybody else has armed it. So you can see on the left-hand side, each chevron is 4 minutes remaining. Each chevron is a minute, so 4 minutes remaining of the attack mode, starting now. Through the final corner comes Oliver Rowland, chased by this man, Sam Bird, as we get racing back underway in Hong Kong with 36 minutes plus 1 lap left on the flag. And here comes Andre Lotterer up the inside of Stoffel van Dorn, and Lotterer immediately pounces, moves up into third place in that gold to Cheetah. Rowland first, Bird second, Lotterer third.
Contact at the back of the screen between one of the Venturi cars, grey Venturi car, and it looked like one of the Jaguars possibly. Now, Oliver Rowland's very new to Formula E, so he's probably going to be a little bit nervous, but Sam Bird is an expert in just applying consistent pressure until the driver in front makes a mistake, and Sam is on a very different path today. He's looking to be leading the championship at the end of today's race.
Oliver Rowland, the race leader. Oh, a little bit of a lock-up from Sam Bird, but Rowland is just 26 years of age. He's won a number of junior titles on his way to Formula E. Sam Bird, on the other hand, is not a veteran, but he's 32 years of age and has competed in every single Formula E race. So there's a real difference in experience levels between the two of them. The quickest guy is looking like Andre Lotterer in the Gold to Cheetah in third place. He's absolutely flying.
He's lining up, Jack. He's definitely lining up to make a lunge into one. Multiple Le Mans champion, Andre Lotterer.
Bird's going to hit him. They make a little bit of contact down at Tamar Park. A couple of two kisses there. Oh, slowing is Oliver Rowland. Oliver Rowland slows from the lead of the race.
He's got a flat tyre.
And looks as though he's out of the Hong Kong E-Prix. Is he getting going again? But Bird it is who leads now. Lotterer second. Fan boost being activated by Pascal Wehrlein. Oh, sorry. Fan board being awarded by Pascal Wehrlein. Sebastian Buemi, Daniel Abt, the third driver to get it, Antonio Felix da Costa, and Stoffel Van Dorn, the drivers to get the fan boost. Obviously, Wehrlein won't use his because he's already out of the race, but the rest of the drivers there can get an extra power boost to use later on in the race. But Bird in the lead. What's happened to Oliver Rowland, and can Lotterer now try and take the lead away from Sam Bird?
And Lotterer is a very aggressive driver. He's definitely earned a reputation in Formula E as being aggressive as well. He will spare absolutely nothing, and he's lining up again to have a chance at passing Sam Bird. They had contact in a race in Paris last season on the last corner of the last lap. But Lotterer, he's very experienced, won in almost everything he's done, but doesn't mind mixing up a little bit and upsetting a few people.
Now, Oliver Rowland came across the line absolutely fine. He lost 8 seconds in that first sector. He must have just had... Oh, Bird's gone wide! Bird goes straight on, and into the lead of the race goes Andre Lotterer. Bird went in too deep, turning right at Hong Kong Station, and he loses the lead of the race. Eduardo Mortara, meanwhile, has also got past Gary Paffett for 4th position. Sam Bird will be so frustrated with that.
Bird's going to do the job, though, of just staying on the rear of the diffuser, the gearbox of the car in front, and putting that pressure on. But it was Sam who made the mistake. Look how slippery it is. We see Oliver Rowland.
So he got
looking
that
down.
Nudge.
Yeah. I thought it was sitting low on the right rear, but it's not. It's just an issue with the software.
We think that coming through the corner, the hairpin, you take your hands off the wheel, and we think he's hit the full course yellow button, potentially. And that's why he suddenly slowed, because he hit because there you see Sam Bird moving his hands so much on the wheel, it's so easy to knock a button. But Rowland has got going again, he's in 10th, but Bird, who we're on board with now, is trying to get the lead of the race back from Andre Lotterer. Onto the brakes, into the right-hander at Hong Kong Station, where he made the mistake a lap ago. Lotterer a bit loose this time.
Unusually for a single-seater racing car, you've got to take your hands off the wheel and turn the steering wheel more than 180 degrees to get through some of these hairpins, which is why you see situations like that with all the switches on the wheel. Here's
This was Bird nudging Rowland.
Again, yeah.
So we think in that sort of bounce and hit, Rowland has hit something on the wheel.
Look at all the switches on the steering wheel. That is so easy to press one of those buttons, and Sam just made a mistake just as he crossed the crosswalk on that slippery paint down the escape road.
And Paffett went off as well. That's why he lost out to Mortara. On the left-hand side, you see usable energy remaining. Obviously, it started at 100%. If you get down to 0%, then you've run out of energy. And at the moment, they're all pretty similar. If anything, Lotterer has used a little more than Sam Bird. But how much energy saving they'll need to do depends on whether there's any more safety cars or other incidents that slow down the pace of the race. But I tell you, the pace of the race at the front is mind-blowing. They are flying away from the rest of the pack at a second a lap.
And they're dealing with multiple surfaces, multiple grip levels. Look how damp it still is at this point on the track. Earlier in the lap, it's dry. So they're having to feel exactly where the grip level is, and they can't leave anything on the table. Otherwise, you know, in Lotterer's case, Sam Bird will just go straight back past him.
So there's Lotterer, the race leader. Sam Bird is in second position in the purple Envision version racing car. There they come. And then in third place, about 3 seconds further back, is Stoffel Van Dorn. They come to the roundabout section now. Through the right.
Mistake
and then
from Sam Bird.
They're pushing absolutely on the limit, aren't they? So Bird, another little error, and you see that drops him back about a second or so.
And the problem for him now is, Jack, he's going to push even harder to make up that gap to the car in front. And there's not any energy saving, like we said. These guys are pushing for all their work. Fastest lap for Andre Lotterer.
Yeah, Bird makes a mistake. Lotterer sets the fastest lap. So those are our two race leaders. Andre Lotterer there in the gold DS to Cheetah. Then it's Sam Bird in second place. Bit of a gap back to Stoffel Van Dorn, who's looking fairly comfortable in third position at the moment. not under a huge amount of pressure. But they've still all got one more attack mode activation to use. When will they decide to deploy that? As we now look at the heads-up display on Sam Bird, you can see on the right-hand side the amount of power he's using. When that arrow dips down to green, that means he's regenerating energy through the brakes and putting it back in to the battery.
Essentially, the motor is running in reverse when he's on the brakes. So the rear brakes on the car, the mechanical brakes, aren't actually working that much. Front mechanical brakes, rear, the motor's going into reverse. And there's a very clever system, a brake-by-wire system, that modulates that. To a degree, you can still, as we've seen, lock up and go off the road.
Bird has chipped back away again, 3/10 quicker than Lotterer on that last lap, and the gap visibly comes down, especially under the brakes, into the right-hander at Hong Kong Station, and now into the Man Po chicane.
The car that Sam Bird is driving has an Audi powertrain. They're a customer team. They're not a manufacturer team for the DS powertrain in front in the Envision, in the Cheetah car, which is the powertrain that the Virgin team, the now Envision Virgin team, ran in seasons past. And when you hear that there's kind of a stutter and the noise on board, that's the rear wheels locking. When that happens, the drivers really have to modulate the pedal or they go off. Look at Oliver Rowland at the back of that group in the grey Nissan, just getting a little bit frustrated. He knows he's quicker than the cars in front.
We saw attack modes remaining there on the left-hand side, and they've all got one except Freitz and Abt in 8th and 9th. They've both got 2 remaining, so they're doing it a little bit different. But again, the gap comes down once more. Fastest lap of the race by Sam Bird, and he's chipped it down to half a second now between Lotterer and Bird. We're on board with Bird now on the streets of Hong Kong, with 28 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the 5th round of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. These all-electric single-seaters are racing hard, and none harder than Jean-Eric Vergne, who's come steaming into Hong Kong Station, giving a little nudge to Tom Dillman, who he's managed to overtake, and then the 7 car of Jose Maria Lopez tries to get involved as well, but can't quite get past Dillman himself. Leaders, though, still nose to tail. This is a great race between the pair of them.
They're setting sail. They're 5.4 seconds up the road from those behind them, and they're just pushing each other to the absolute limit as Sam Bird makes another small mistake. But if you look at the body language of Sam Bird's car, he's able to hold it a little tighter on corner exits. One of the great things about the Formula E cars, they don't have massive aerodynamics. They've been designed that way so they can run very, very close to the car in front.
So, Bob, 27 minutes plus 1 lap to go. What a frantic opening it's been.
Yep, and you've got to respect Andre Lotterer, who's been fast from the get-go this morning. This is by far, save for the Santiago race last year where he finished second to his teammate, the best shot he's had at picking up a victory in ABB Formula E. But obviously Sam Bird not about to let him go. Now with nearly a 7-second gap over 3rd place Stoffel Vandoorne. And I have to wonder if Vandoorne is just trying to consolidate his position and pick up some more precious points for HWA Race Lab after getting their first 3 as a bonus for taking the Julius Baer pole position for this race.
Yeah, he's running in 3rd place at the moment, as you say, and even just a podium, I think, for Stoffel Vandoorne would be an amazing achievement. As they come out onto the start-finish straight again. Andre Lotterer leading, Sam Bird in 2nd place. And it just, so late on the brakes there, Bird. He sets the fastest lap of the race again. Another 0.2 of a second chipped away at race leader Andre Lotterer. They go nose to tail once more,
close,
up towards Hong Kong Station.
This is one of those points, Jack. You're just pushing your opposition. How quickly can they go? If you're Lotterer, you're just pushing a little bit harder. If you're Bird, you just want to see how far you can push before the guy in front makes a mistake.
Oh, there's Oliver Rowland. That's a forceful move. Whoa, getting past Daniel Abt.
Look at the damage to the floor of the Audi.
Yeah, and that's Jean-Eric Vergne, who's having a torrid day, going straight on at the chicane, and the rules say you have to come to a stop and then carry on again if you cut the chicane.
Look at the carbon brakes glowing inside the front wheel. Yeah, Jean-Eric Vergne is not having a good defense of his championship, running P15 right now. His teammate, Andre Lotterer, leading the race. Sam's just got a bit of breathing room, just sat back just a little bit. He's sitting there plotting. Where am I quicker? Where can I pass him? He's going to have to catch Andre Lotterer by surprise because Lotterer will defend for all he's worth. We've seen it for the last season. He will do whatever he has to stay ahead.
So it's Andre Lotterer leading in the gold and black. DS Techeetah in first place. Second is Sam Bird, right up behind him. Stoffel van Doorn there running in third place in the black HWA, followed by Eduardo Mortara's Venturi. Then we've got Lucas de Grassi behind in car 11, then the black HWA of Gary Paffett, then Sebastian Buemi, then Daniel Abt, then Felipe Massa, a whole train of cars further back, while the lead two sprint clear with 24 minutes plus a lap to go.
You'd have to say Gary Paffett, there's a bit of a train following behind him, and then de Grassi managed to finally get past, but yeah, he's just struggling a little bit with dry pace and with race pace in Formula E. As I said, multiple DTM champion, very, very successful, but this car is probably like nothing he has ever driven before in his life.
Here comes Sam Bird again, down into turn 1 at Tamar Park. He's so deep on the brakes. You can see on the left, Daniel Abt, who's one of 2 drivers that had 2 attack modes remaining. He has now activated his, so those 4 chevrons mean he's in attack mode. Sam Bird is in attack mode metaphorically because he is right underneath the rear of Andre Lotterer's DS Techeetah.
In last season's race, Sam Bird made a pass for the lead with Andre Lotterer's teammate and going into turn 6, caught him by surprise, and that's what Sam is going to have to do. He's going to have to get close enough and dummy him, and right into there was where he made the pass, but Lotterer's not going to make it easy.
Do you think Lotterer will know that? Lotterer will have seen that and be, oh yeah, this guy last year did this.
Yeah, absolutely, he'll have watched the race. If Sam is closer again. Lotterer had a torrid race last year. Eventually the FIA just said, look, you've broken so many rules, you've had so many penalties, just go home.
Lotterer's on 57% energy remaining, Bird's on 61%, and the team are telling Lotterer over the radio, get on top of your energy consumption. You've got less than everyone else in the field, so that's a really good opportunity for Sam Bird to try and take the lead of the race.
And Sam Bird's team have probably heard that and told him, Sam's smelling blood in the water, he's going to keep the pressure on. He wants to run Andre Lotterer into position out of energy and take advantage.
Oh, I thought that was it for a moment, and Bird locks up. They just about get it turned in. These two are right on the limit on the streets of downtown Hong Kong.
Then there's still no grip, Jack. You see across those hatch marks, there's still absolutely no grip, and they're on the limit. They're walking a tightrope. Look how close those walls are. The slightest mistake, that wall's going to reach out and end your day.
So now Andre Lotterer, you'll see him covering the sort of middle of the racetrack. Bird will go really far to the right, coming up to the hairpins. Lotterer will keep it in the middle to try and defend.
Less than Bird, 3% less than Bird.
That's Lotterer being told that he's got 3% less than Sam Bird. Alexander Sims is in the pits with damage. This is how it happened. Coming through the right-hander. Oh, he's hit the wall.
Turn 5, yeah.
Hit the wall big, coming up the Star Ferry terminal.
And he's not the first person to do that.
Back to the race leaders. Lotterer ahead of Bird. Eduardo Mortara in 4th is now in his 2nd attack mode. But really, it's all about 1st and 2nd positions.
Unless these guys make a mistake and take each other out, in which case Van Doorn and Mortara are fighting for the race. And he's made a mistake!
Lotterer makes the mistake! The two go side by side towards the chicane, like they did on the opening lap. Bird decides discretion the better part of valor there. Didn't want to be put in the wall.
Smart racing from Sam Bird. He's like, yeah, I'm in a no-win position here. I'm not going to take myself out. I'll get him later on.
Does that give you confidence when the driver in front makes an error? You're like, oh, I've got you, son.
Oh, look, just look at the body language of the cars. Sam Bird's car is just a bit
we have an
tighter.
That's not wasted.
On the apexes of the corners, his engineers saying, don't waste energy. But it's just a bit tighter, and it just looks more comfortable. And Lotterer's going to start checking his mirrors. He's going to hopefully check them on the corner exit, because the car behind looks further away. But yeah, he's got to feel the pressure, Jack.
Yeah, Stephen Lane, Bird's race engineer, saying we have the advantage in terms of energy. Don't waste it by chopping and over-consuming and driving too hard behind Andre Lotterer. Eduardo Mortara, meanwhile, has got him into 3rd place. He's managed to overtake Stoffel van Doorn while in the final sector. I think while Van Doorn activated his attack mode. So Mortara now into 2nd place. Oh, another little nudge. Nose-to-tail racing.
Lotterer is not good through turn 2, is he? He's really struggling on the slippery surface. And Sam Bird, is he going to try and just push him into mistake in turn 2? Because it's so tough to pass you.
Literally, or?
No.
Okay.
He's just, I don't think he'll make contact because he'll get in all kinds of trouble. So the 104 is his lap time. we've seen the old car run at 102s. We expect this car on a fully dry track to be below a minute, so it shows that there's still not, the track is not anywhere close to fully dry.
Yeah, brand new Formula E cars for this 5th season. They used to have to change cars halfway through, but because of the development in electric vehicle technology since the start of the championship in 2013, it's now all one race for one car. Bit of bodywork there on the left-hand side.
Sam Bird's got to be careful, though, he doesn't run into the back of Andre Lotterer and damage his front wing, because that would probably end his day, have to come in the pits. Although Sam Bird did win the race here last year, having done a drive-through penalty after hitting the garage structure during a car change.
Oh, it's so slippery, isn't it, down there at the right-hander at Hong Kong Station.
Again, it's a lot to do with those painted surfaces on the track. Bird's got to be good through here. If he wants to make the same pass as he did last year, he's going to be fast through turn 5 and accelerate well out of there, breaking into 6. But Lotterer is not. He's going to leave the inside open, Jack.
There's great battles throughout the track, but it's absolutely nose to tail for the lead of the race. There's a yellow flag out there somewhere and a white flag as well, which means there's a slow-moving car on track, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. But as I say, battles everywhere, but when it's nose to tail for the lead, we're not going anywhere, because this is a fantastic duel down to Tamar Park. Covering the inside there, Andre Lotterer, and he can't quite get the move done yet, Sam Bird. But look, he's still got a lot less energy than Bird. Lotterer on 47%, Bird on 51%, and Bird is closing in again now, coming to the 90-degree right-hander at Hong Kong Station. Nothing to be there. It's so narrow, this circuit, isn't it?
And you have to say Lotterer's defending perfectly.
Buemi, Sebastian Buemi out of the race for Nissan. Stoffel Van Dorn has dropped down the order as well. A shake of the head from Buemi, the Season 2 champion, not having a great run. Here's a look at the replay. Oh, he's side by side with Robin Freins. And what happens here?
Is he got a...
Has he already damaged?
He looks like the front left's off the ground. I don't know.
Oh.
That doesn't sound good, does it?
No, was there contact on the way into the chicane? Back on board with Sam Bird, running in 2nd place, still having made that mistake at Hong Kong Station, but he's not able to get back in front of Andre Lotterer. They've both still got one attack mode remaining, where they can get a boost for 4 minutes of 25 kilowatts of power. It's about a 12% power boost, so it's a substantial amount.
It's a massive hike. You know, the tolerances that these teams and drivers are dealing with, that is a massive amount of power. And Sam Bird, with that mistake, is going to be kicking himself too.
Drive shaft problem for Stoffel Van Dorn. That's what shuffled him down the order. That afflicted his teammate Gary Paffett in practice earlier on. Daniel Abt, Pascal Verlaine, Sebastian Buemi. These are the drivers that have been awarded the fan boost. Of course, Buemi and Verlaine out of the race. There is Stoffel Van Dorn, who has come to a halt, so he's not going to be able to use his fan boost either. And Antonio Felix da Costa. 16 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
There's some debris in turn 1. There's a car parked in turn 6. Do they throw a full course yellow and clean things up and allow them to attack all the way to the finish?
Yeah, here's the debris you can see on the right-hand side as they come over the, well, left-hand side if you're on board with Sam Bird. Onto the brakes again. Now, at what point, Dario, with 40 minutes to go, or whatever it was, Bird's got plenty of time, no need to rush things. At what time to go, actually, do you have to start rushing things? He nearly answered my question.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he's hit him again in the diffuser. The bit underneath the car that generates the downforce. And he's just piling the pressure on. I would want to be going soon. I would, if he gets any kind of chance, he's got to keep that pressure on though, Jack, because yeah.
But there's 4% difference, look, between Lotterer and Bird. That's almost a lap's worth of energy difference between the two of them, and the safety car is deployed. That is going to help Andre Lotterer big time. Safety car deployed, so now the energy advantage that Sam Bird had may well just evaporate away a little bit. And that's because of Stoffel Van Dorn's car stopped on the circuit.
And there's really nothing the race stewards could do about that.
Yeah, and there's also that debris.
So take a breath.
It's a big bit of a car to be lying on the track. Although it's carbon fibre, it's still a big bit of a car.
Sam, if I could just remind you, both of the Mahindras are out. Okay, so it's a point haul. This is a point haul.
I was going to say, do you want me to translate? Don't do anything stupid. You're probably going to be leading the points at the end of today.
Yes, Chris. Okay, copy.
Yeah, that's
Chris
Gorn. We think about the long term here, mate. But look, we've got 4% more energy than Lotterer, 4% more. Mortara and De Grassi behind have used all attack. Robin P5 has also used all of his attack.
The problem is, you're dealing with a driver. When you say to him, think about the big picture, all the driver's thinking about is the guy in front of me is between me and winning a race.
Yeah, it was Chris Gorn, who is the technical director at the team, who came over the radio. Very rare, actually, that Chris Gorn at the Envision team speaks to the driver. So he felt the need to say, look, all your title rivals are basically out of the race. Da Costa, who's second, is 11th. Okay, De Grassi's 4th, but come on. And he doesn't say, yes, I agree. He says, copy, I heard you.
When that happens, Jack, when you hear that different voice,
yeah,
that's just them making a point there. That, okay, not just the boss, not just your engineer, but the big boss is saying, oi, just behave, just think about it.
What happens here with...
I hit him, friends hit him. Now, did he break the suspension? It looks like the car's sitting down.
But it's weird that he hits him on acceleration out of the corner.
It was more towards the braking zone of turn 4. Now, yeah, look at the wheel. Left front is kind of off the ground a bit.
That's multiple Indy 500 champion and IndyCar champion Dario Franchitti alongside me, Jack Nicholls, and Bob Varsha in the commentary box here for the Hong Kong E-Prix. We've got 13 minutes plus 1 lap to go. We're behind the safety car at the moment after a bit of damage and a Stoffel Van Dorn HWA that needed to be removed. But as we come into the final 13 minutes or so, we are really getting to the action-packed part of it, aren't we, Bob? It's been a thriller race so far.
And it's been a brutal one. We have, what, 7 cars now out of the race. That's a season high, I believe. We have 6 in Santiago, I think. So it's been tough. And Dario, you've been talking all weekend about how the drivers and the officials in this series are still trying to find a consistent set of standards for driving etiquette on the racetrack. This has been a fairly full contact race.
It has, but we're kind of blessed because it has. The racing series is so close and they can race so well together. But because of that, there is contact and there's differing opinions. You put 10 drivers in the room, you're going to have 10 different opinions. We've definitely been seeing that.
Target 144.
In this situation, guys, if I'm Bird, I don't want Lotterer to get the jump on me in this restart. I'm going to stay as close as I can and make sure that he doesn't get that jump. You've got to keep it within a couple of car lengths, I would say, and try and just keep your focus on him. When he goes, you got to go, and the safety car is in this lap.
But were the cars far enough round to activate the attack mode? Yes, they were. So through goes the top 2 into attack mode. And that means that Eduardo Mortara in 3rd place, he didn't have any attack modes remaining. He's a relative sitting duck in 3rd position for De Grassi, Freitz and Abt behind. Now, when will Andre Lotterer at the front, floor the throttle. There he goes, racing back underway in Hong Kong.
This is giving Bird a good chance, Jack.
Andre Lotterer leads the way for DS Techeetah. We've got 11.5 minutes plus 1 lap of racing to go. Sam Bird in 2nd place. He was in the lead earlier on in the race, but made a mistake. Everybody barreling into the first corner. The hairpin right-hander down near Tamar Park, one of the municipal parks here on the Victoria Harbour in Hong Kong. And look how close Bird is. Not close enough, though. That's the key part.
It just looks a bit drier there again.
Oh, Freitz has hit the wall. That might give Daniel Abt an opportunity to get through. No, it doesn't. But the other purple Envision Virgin car there of Robin Freitz hit the wall on the way into the right-hander of Hong Kong Station.
Bird just did a setup. Is he looking, Jack? He moved a bit wide on the way into 5. You see the defending Lotterer and the Gold Techeetah car defending.
A little bit of a clunk together again, and these two are going to build up their lead once more because Eduardo Mortara in 3rd place in the Silver Venturi, he's not in attack mode. He doesn't have that extra 25 kilowatts of power. He's used both of his activations already, so as a result, he's going to be the sort of stopper in the bottle for everyone behind.
And Lotterer got a decent gap on that lap.
Confirm when you can.
Yeah, I've got L12.
He's saying he's got L12, which presumably means 12 laps remaining. That seems about right, roughly. He's right up behind Lotterer, and Mortara's defending further back from De Grassi. but I don't think Degrassi can get the job done. Mortara's in the silver Venturi, and Degrassi is behind in the Audi, and behind him is Robin Freins, the Dutch racer who's Sam Bird's teammate. And then it is at Massa, Paffett, Evans and Turvey in the top 10 positions. The top 10 score the points towards the championship.
And the front two have disappeared again. As you say, Mortara, a bit of a stopper in the bottle. Everybody else behind on attack mode, nowhere to go.
With the Ferris wheel on the left-hand side, a look down to the Wan Chai district up in front, but Sam Bird is only looking at the back of the car in front of Andre Lotterer, the German.
And when you say he's looking at the car, Jack, as Sam Bird sits in that car, he can probably see the bottom of the back of the car in front right now. As he gets this close, he can't see it. He can see the right ahead of him, the top of that windscreen. That's as far forward as he can see. Everything else, apart from the tops of the wheels, is blind. That nose is poking all the way out. So when he hits him, he's kind of guessing a little bit of where the nose is, and he's again going to the outside. Looks confident, looks like he's got all the time in the world to set up a pass.
He doesn't have all the time in the world though, does he? He's got 9 minutes plus 1 lap, and at some point you feel he has got to commit. Look at this great queue behind. It's fantastic racing, but you just can't take your eyes off the battle for the lead and where the Hong Kong E-Prix of 2019 may be decided. Nose to tail still.
And he slid, Sam Bird slid all the way out of the corner. He's starting to overheat the rear tyres just a little bit. It looked like out of turn 6. The back of the car was slid, it was oversteering, and that, you do it for a couple of corners, but after that you start to lose grip from the rear tyres.
Through the left-hander of turn 10. They've only got 30 seconds each of attack mode power remaining.
And Lotterer's just done fastest lap of the race.
This is getting tight now. You feel, don't you, with this battle for the lead, that there's going to be one pivotal moment. There's going to be one chance that presents itself, and that's the one Bird has to take. Otherwise, Andre Lotterer, the 37-year-old German, is going to take the win.
Sam Bird has to get some overlap on the car in front. He has to get at least, I would say, a quarter to half of his car onto the inside of the car in front of the Gold Cheetah that Andre Lotterer's driving. That's going to be his only chance to get a move. He's going to have to be robust by doing it, but if he wants to win the race, that's what he's going to have to do.
Lotterer leading Bird second. Then Mortara's actually done a really good job in third place, the Swiss racer, to hold off the Brazilian Lucas Degrassi, despite the cars behind all being in attack mode where he wasn't. So Mortara in third has done a good job. Oliver Rowland, Jose Maria Lopez and John-Eric Verne all have one attack mode remaining, although as I say that, Rowland's in trouble and is dropping down the order. So a race that looked so strong for him at the start, leading in the early stages, looks as though it's ebbing away from him a little.
A bit of a yellow in turn 7. I wonder if the two are connected with Oliver Rowland.
Might not need to be Jessica Fletcher to figure that one out. Onto the brakes into Hong Kong Station. 7 minutes plus a lap to go.
Dangerous things for the leaders is turn 7's a blind corner, blind left-handed down a hill. These guys are going to arrive there, and there's Rowland. He's had an accident. He's hit the front. You can see the damage yourself.
Yeah, he's shaking his head. It looks as though he has had a bit of contact there potentially, although that
these
could have
guys
been
are
earlier
arriving now, Jack, right at the spot where Rowland's parked.
Yellow flags are out. He's off the racing line.
But I don't think they'll be able to leave him there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Lotterer, it is still leading the way. And if you're the team now, do you say, look, this could go to a safety car, you might have one more chance?
Yeah, I think Sam will probably realise that he's... I thought he was looking.
Oh, lock up from Lotterer. Lotterer goes in a bit deep. This could be Bird's opportunity to get the overlap. Not quite.
Just not enough. Yeah, just couldn't get the lock in as well. But the pressure's still on. The problem is with a guy like Lotterer, he's got all the experience in the world of dealing with pressure.
Very good at driving a very wide Formula E car, and Lotterer is looking for his first Formula E victory. Never taken a win in the championship before. The battle for third has calmed down. Mortara has managed to pull away from Lucas Degrassi, so it could be 2 podiums in 2 races for Edo Mortara.
We talked about the battle that Lotterer and Bird had in Paris last year. Bird crossed the finish line with 3 wheels on his car after they had some contact, shall we say.
Are you suggesting the same outcome today?
Yeah, but it could happen. As long as it was a left front, you could still make it.
And the safety car deployed. So in the closing stages, the safety car is out. Hopefully they can move Roland's
The
car
safety car is broad.
in time, but that
So
may
5 minutes left plus 1 lap, 5 minutes left plus 1 lap.
end the race under the safety
deployed,
car.
Save energy, it will be flat out, 100% sure.
So now they know it will be flat out to the end of the race.
Papa. Tango 9.
That's not a mechanical problem for Oliver Rowland.
Oh, it is now. Here comes the marshals. I think they're going to have to tow that. There won't be any drive.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what the Hong Kong marshals can do. If they can get a good one, a good lift, a quick lift, then we could get a lap of racing as we got in Marrakesh earlier this season. We've got a thrilling conclusion.
Go on.
Okay, copy that, copy that.
Andre Lotterer's team radio. And there's a look
Same
down
than before.
on the racetrack.
Give me the crypto as soon as possible on the line so I can update you on the end of the race. All the car behind you have used all their attack mode, so use the same than everyone else.
Look how slow the safety car is going.
Yeah.
Slowed it right down. That's probably why they deployed the safety car rather than do a full course yellow, because they want to end this race under green. We want to see a race to the finish. We don't want to end under safety car.
And I think they're trying to get this done on this lap almost, because that car is far enough around that if they can clear it in the next couple of moments, then it'll be all right. And in Formula One or another series of motorsports, you couldn't go this slowly, but in Formula E the cars are all right running at that kind of speed because they're on road tires, they're not on special racing slick tires,
and there's no issue with temperatures.
Have used all attack.
The internal combustion engine will start to overheat.
Yeah,
these things are just fine.
So Andre Lotterer it is, leading the way. We're behind the safety car as we look upon the spectacular street race in downtown Hong Kong. Sam Bird is in second place, Mortara is third, De Grassi is fourth, France is fifth. Championship leader D'Ambrosio out of the race as Oliver Rowland's car is removed. It's Andre Lotterer who continues to lead here on the streets of Hong Kong, but Bird is going to do his best to chase him down.
If this was me at this point, Jack, I'd be going on the straight, putting my knee up on the steering wheel and pulling the belts, just giving them a wee yank just to make sure they're just a little bit tighter. Yeah.
Does that make you feel happier as a racing driver?
Just with moving around in the steep, as the race went on, they would just become a little slacker. It would just give you sort of a bit more security, ready to go. You'd feel more connected to the car. You'd get ready to go into battle.
Tighten those belts.
Yeah,
Tighten those belts.
Sam Bird, he's like a little bulldog. He's quite quiet out of the car. He is a man on a mission when you put him behind the wheel, and he is going to be attacking. There's more overt sort of, and the safety car lights are out, safety car in.
So safety car in this lap, we're going to get a good
in this lap.
2, maybe 3 laps of racing underway.
Power 6.
Lotterer will try and go as slowly as possible to make it as little as possible. No, Lotterer goes then. 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go as we go racing again here on the streets of Hong Kong. And it's Lotterer versus Bird.
Bird's right there, Jack.
As it has been since the start of the race. Can Bird get the move done? Onto the brakes now, down into Tamar Park.
Lotterer missed the corner a bit, but Bird was on his outside. Nothing he could do at all.
Third place is still Eduardo Mortara. We're on board with Bird as we come down into the right-hander at Hong Kong Station. Looks one way, looks the other, and remains behind.
He's got probably 2 laps. This next lap they're coming on to, and 1 more, and that is it. So he's going to have to put the pressure on.
3 laps, including this one.
3 laps, including this one, is Stephen Lane's prediction. It's more than a prediction, it's their calculation.
Mind you, some of the teams have messed that up this year so far.
So now it is flat out to the finish. Can Sam Bird pull down and pass Andre Lotterer for the lead of the race? Whatever happens here, Bird is going to be moving into the lead of the Formula E Championship. Whether he finishes second or first, does that play on his mind?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. He's a very calculating driver, Sam Bird. But he's a racing driver. He wants to win another race.
Lotterer super twitchy on the brakes there, and he goes in a little deep. It's almost the replica every single lap.
Now, this is where you're going to see Sam try and dummy, go to the inside a bit to the right, then he come back over to the left, and he might have another dive to the right, see if he can do it. He's looking!
They nudge! And Lotterer holds on!
Doesn't get any closer than that, does it? just not enough. He just couldn't get enough gap to make that crossover we talked about.
Careful, mate, careful. There's the message from Laney.
That means we do not. Oh, we almost hit the inside wall. You do not want to do that. That's the biggest problem you could do, to snap the suspension.
Look at Eduardo Mortara in the silver Venturi. He's just lurking around now, being like, if you guys want to crash, be my guest. Oh, and Lotter's got damage. Lotter's got a puncture. He's out of the race. He's out of the battle for the lead. And Sam Bird is in front in Hong Kong, where he won last season. Mortara up into second, De Grassi up into third, through the final corner to start the final lap of the race, and Bird has managed to take the lead away. There's Lotterer, all out of sorts, out of the final corner, and the German must be furious.
Was that a result of the contact in turn 2? That's what the FIA are going to have to look into.
It has to have been, doesn't it? Here's now Gary Paffett and Mitch Evans going side by side. Further back, the Jaguar on the inside of the HWA as they come into the right-hander at Hong Kong Station. But Bird leads, Mortara second, De Grassi third, Price fourth, Abt fifth, Massa sixth, Evans seventh, Paffett eighth, ninth for Turvey, 10th for Da Costa, and then it is Jose Maria Lopez, Dillman, Lotterer and Verne, the rest of the runners.
And right there, Lotterer's tyre came apart as he exited turn 2. There was the carcass has just shredded all the bodywork. So luckily this is the last lap because there's bits all over the track. But Sam Bird has still got to get through these last couple of corners. And the incident involving Bird and Lotterer is under investigation. And trust me, the DS Techeetah guys will be down at the FIA stewards, absolutely pleading their case.
Sam Bird through the final corner, and he sees the checkered flag and wins on the streets of Hong Kong. Eduardo Mortara second, De Grassi third.
In that procedure, use the regen if you need to.
There's half-hearted
go to the quali page, check your integral, look at pressures.
At Envision Virgin, because that
make sure you keep an eye on everything.
Is what happened to Andre Lotterer.
If you need it, keep an eye on your integral, check pressures.
I think the DS, I think the Envision Virgin guys know there's a bit of.
But they've been nudging each other
all day.
All day. Everyone nudges everyone. At what point is it? At what point is it racing? You know, incident. I don't know. Let's talk to Sam Bird.
Sam Bird, congratulations on that win. It was close there, right at the end. What happened from your point of view? Please don't swear.
No. I mean, for me, Andre was over defending quite a bit. I went for a gap, and then he closed the door, and I slid into him. It's a big shame, but okay. Scott just told me to go straight on when I was already in the pit lane, so I'll go straight through the pits if that's okay. There's a red light at the end of the pit lane, Scott. What do you want me to do?
Well, we'll let Sam sort that out with the race director, and we'll see what happens there. But
he's smart. He's not. I'm not going to drive through a red light. I'm going to wait for it to be told. He drove a brilliant race. Yeah. And I agree with you, Jack. Now the acceptable standard is there's a bit of nudging going on.
Here we go. So we're on board. He claims Lotterer was over defending. I mean, he's moving across in the braking zone. To be fair. I mean, I know Bird was in no way up the inside, but if you want close racing, you're going to end up with a little bit of nudging here and there.
We have seen issues this year where there's been no penalty for worse than this issue. If I'm Andre Lotterer, I'm going to be furious, though. I am absolutely going to be furious. But if I'm Sam Bird, I'm going to say, well, this guy took this guy out worse than that before there was no penalty. We need to get some consistency. And they were so close all day, and as you say, they were nudging each other a lot.
And everyone's nudging everyone. Obviously, there's no doubt that the puncture was caused by. There you see the puncture spectacularly. Yeah. It was, and you can see the front nose damage on Sam Bird's car. There's no denying that. But, and I'm not being a Sam Bird apologist or anything like that.
Absolutely not, Jack.
There comes a point where, you got to race.
It looks like he's nudged the diffuser. He's broken the diffuser, and the diffuser is damaged the inside of the rear, the right rear tire, and that's what's caused the puncture.
So there you see slightly understated Sam Bird taking that win. He knows it's under investigation, and how quickly the stewards will make a decision.
Interesting to go down the finishing cars and see how many cars have been damaged to the nose.
Yeah, that's very true. And there goes Sam Bird then off towards the podium.
It's a shame. It was a fantastic drive, and it's just a bit muted now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was a dramatic conclusion, nevertheless. That's what happened to Andre Lotterer's car, because once that rubber comes off the wheel, it starts flapping around and rips apart all the bodywork.
Look at the radiator. You see the radiator exposed on in the right rear side pod. There's a bit of damage. He's talking driver. Drivers talk with their hands. He's on the radio to his engineer.
Wow, what a dramatic Hong Kong E-Prix this has been. Nicky Shields is down talking to the top three. Sam Bird, Eduardo Matara and Lucas Di Grassi.
Sam Bird, I'm behind you. Hello. Wow, I mean, that was a game of cat and mouse. Talk us through the end. What happened with Andre Lotterer?
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, for me, I tried to go down the inside and Andre late defended. It's very slippery down the inside. I braked, locked up and hit him a little bit like what he did with Jev in Santiago last year. It's a big shame, but you know, my heart goes out to him. He drove a great race. It's a shame that it ended that way.
But you have ended up the winner once again here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, very, very good. Need to see what happens.
Thanks very much. We'll have a quick word with Edo Mortara back on the podium. This is a nice place to be.
I mean, wonderful. I mean, 4th in Santiago, 3rd in Mexico, now 2nd. I mean, hopefully next race weekend I'm getting, you know, the first victory for Venturi. I mean, it's awesome. We were starting like 6th. Had a wonderful weekend. I mean, this place around here, like, is bringing me so much luck and over the moon.
Excellent. I mean, it's amazing to see the change in performance from Venturi, isn't it?
We try our best. I mean, we are starting from quite far, but the guys are doing like such an amazing job that, yeah, I mean, this is for them, and I'm sure that this will motivate them also.
Thanks very much. And finally, Lucas Di Grassi, you managed to get on the podium. Well done.
Yeah, my 30th podium maybe on my career and 50th race. So amazing to be here in Hong Kong. Thanks everybody that came to see us. Very tough day with wet conditions, dry conditions. My car was not optimized for dry. So I did the race I could, and good points, another podium.
Excellent. Congratulations. Thanks very much.
Well, after an amazing race, while the stewards cogitate, let's have a look at the final results. Provisional final results. Sam Bird, you got the sense that Eduardo Mortara thought he may wind up with better than a 2nd place finish. If he does get the win, it would be his first. Lucas Di Grassi continues to pile up podiums for Audi Sport F. Schaeffler. There you see the rest of the top 10. Jose Maria Lopez leads those not scoring points. Good finish for Tom Dillman, given the way his season has gone. Jean-Eric Verne has another race without scoring a point. Then Andre Lotterer after leading the race until that fateful meeting with Sam Bird. And there is Andre Lotterer with a, how's that expression go, with a face like thunder.
I tell you what, hashtag Hong Kong E-Prix is lighting up. 50% basically think it's Sam Bird's fault. 50% say, you know, it should be no penalty. So it's a really difficult one for the stewards to call. There's no doubt about that.
Well, it goes back to that point I was trying to make earlier in the race with Dario about how much is too much.
Yeah.
You know, someone has to draw a line. I'm not saying, you know, this was bad or, you know, it's just, there has to be a line. You have to have agreement about how much a driver can do to advance his position. How much aggression is allowable.
But the thing I love about Formula E is that you're in the position where this is a conversation we're having, that the cars are running nose to tail, that they can get that close to one another. I'd much rather we're having this discussion about how do we judge too close racing than the cars aren't racing close enough.
Well, it's a good problem to have, you might say. It's fun
exactly.
to watch. Good Lord.
You think?
I mean, 5 races we've seen now that are among the best that I can recall in any form of motorsport.
The next race is in 2 weeks' time in Sanya, China, on the beachfront down on Hainan Island on the south of China. Not too far from here, only about an hour's flight or so. And so make sure you join us for that one, because that's going to be a thriller as well. Robin Fries did a good job, 10th up to 4th. Felipe Massa, solid points for him, 9th to 6th. I think he'll be happy with that. Mitch Evans did well, 17th on the grid, all the way up to 7th position. Winners and losers throughout the order. 14 finishers out of 22 starters.
A lot of drivers scoring points that hadn't scored many to this point in the season.
There's Chris Gaughan. That was the man who came on the radio and told Sam Bird, look, just keep it steady, play it safe. And I guess the question is, did he play it safe? You know, was that exactly the kind of thing where they were saying don't take a risk too many? I know that's a question for Dario, and he's left the booth to go down and do the post-race analysis. But I don't know. I guess that's what maybe Bird will be asking himself, and maybe the team will be asking him as well. But as it stands, this is what that all means for the championship.
Well, let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship. Again, provisionally, Sam Bird moves into the lead by a handful over Jerome D'Ambrosio. Lucas Di Grassi in third now, Antonio Felix da Costa fourth, and Eduardo Mortara in fifth. As I mentioned, valuable points for a lot of drivers like the Mortaras and Massa, Evans, Paffett, Turvey, who hadn't scored a lot of points earlier this year. In the Teams Championship, Envision Virgin opens up a gap over Mahindra. Audi Sport App Schaeffler now in third, climbing a position at the expense of BMW I Andretti. Diaz Techeetah drops one position. Whew, what a day here in Hong Kong. A lot of discussion coming up after this one.
That's the old airport there, the old runway for the Hong Kong airport, and the planes used to come in between the skyscrapers. They used to make a last-minute banked right-hand turn. I never flew into it, but it was astonishing stuff.
That must have been a bit of a white-knuckle affair.
Yeah. If you go on the internet, you can still find videos of it. I spent hours the other day having a look. Anyway, you can see
we need to push a little bit more, I think.
Sam Bird and Lucas Di Grassi having a conversation.
Well, you know, the way I sum up the whole story is simple. Let the racers race up to a point. Now the fans gather in front of the podium for the very special ABB Formula E podium ceremony. Drivers will make their way through the crowd to the stage.
Firstly, I would like to invite to the stage, representing the winning team of Envision Virgin Racing, the technical director is Chris Gaughan.
So Chris Gaughan makes his way up. He's been in Formula E for a long time, previously with the Andretti team, but now he finds himself up on the podium. Smiles all round, and even though there is that investigation kind of lurking, you've still got to try and enjoy these situations, I suppose, because look at that backdrop, the Ferris wheel down there at the back, the International Finance Centre behind this podium. You'll see all the high-rises down on Kowloon. And there is Mrs. Susanna Kui, Group Managing Director of HKT, handing out the trophy to Chris Gaughan at the HKT Hong Kong E-PRIX.
Audi Sport App Schaeffler Formula E team, ladies and gentlemen, it's Lucas Di Grassi.
Another podium for Lucas Di Grassi, an incredible podium record for the Brazilian. This is his 50th race.
29th podium.
So that's a higher than a quarter hit rate, isn't it, of races he's entered and podiums he's achieved.
Higher than half.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
29 podiums, 50 starts.
Yeah, I'll leave the maths to you.
Now we're all in trouble. Yes. You should know this podium ceremony is rehearsed on the night before each race. And last night, they were rehearsing, not with the dignitaries, but with a group of young people standing in for them in a complete cloudburst. It was raining so hard, and yet they went through with the program, the music, the flags, the whole 9 yards.
Big cheers for Eduardo Mortara, his second podium in Hong Kong, as his second place. in as many Hong Kong E-PRIX. But this time he's a lot happier. Last year, he had a face like whatever the phrase was you used earlier, thunder, because he'd thrown away the win. This time he's very much won a second place. Very impressive drive from Edo. Mr. Macau, they call him, which is just over the newly built bridge from here in Hong Kong, but now he's certainly becoming Mr. Hong Kong as well. His race engineer, Albert Lau, born in Hong Kong, and Dr. Chun Yuan Du hands out the trophy to Eduardo Mortara. Big smiles for the Italian-Swiss racer.
They described themselves as by far the smallest team in Formula E. Got big results today. And now the race winner.
That contact will be discussed and discussed. Everyone will probably still be discussing it come Sanya in 2 weeks' time. But as of now, Sam Bird is the winner of the Hong Kong E-PRIX. As of now, Sam Bird moves to the top of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship.
Congratulations.
I wouldn't hug him though. But he's obviously not quite as thrilled as he would normally be if he knew it was beyond doubt.
How was that? Won't want to hug him after he sprays the champagne either.
Well, that's true. I just wouldn't want to hug Sam Bird. And the financial secretary, Mr. Chan Mo-po, hands out the trophy. A second Hong Kong E-PRIX trophy to add to the collection for Sam Bird. Ever so slightly muted. There's still that cloud hanging over. Still no news of whether a decision has been made, but it will be the British national anthem for Sam Bird and Envision Virgin Racing on the top step of the podium. The Envision Virgin Racing team, a British team, Envision taking over and running the operation at the start of this season. Mr. Stéphane Bachiera, President and CEO of Moet, hands out the champagne. They'll have the oh, here comes Sam Bird with his podium selfie, the traditional podium selfie, but he doesn't take it because arms. Lucas de Grassi is the one he's going to hate me when he watches this back. But now, here comes the champagne in his traditional style. Sam Bird gets spraying, bangs it on the floor like he always does, and goes to spray all the dignitaries that have come to the track, and Michelin Man gets some as well. Oh, I know.
Bibendum.
Yeah.
Sam's going to say there should be rules about how aggressive announcers can be.
Yeah, I'm getting a 5-second drive-through penalty for that one, aren't I? So the balloons erupt, the smoke erupts, and Sam Bird wins again in Formula E. He's been so close. He's been a title contender in the first 4 years of the championship. Now in its 5th season, with the Kowloon skyline behind, has Sam Bird put his mark on this 2018-19 ABB FIA Formula E Championship. We'll obviously have to wait for official confirmation. Still no word on whether a decision has been made or not regarding that contact. But if it is given him, he will celebrate later on. There's no doubt about that. Very good at celebrating, Sam Bird. I'll do one more. That's actually a normal size champagne bottle. That's it, I'm done now. I'm done.
You're now under investigation.
Yeah, no further action, I think.
What was it our social guru Saunders said during our shakedown broadcast yesterday? The question was, is this Sam Bird's year?
Yeah.
And the answer was the numbers were slipping away from him. 59% no, 41% said yes. If this victory stands, Sam Bird is giving himself the best chance he's had to claim that title.
And what a racing victory as well. To come up from starting 7th on the grid, fought his way through to the top 3 by halfway through the first lap, hunted down the race leader. Now Chris Gorn saying, yeah, we're all right to the team. So potentially they've heard some news that we are yet to, but we'll wait and see. All right, that's enough. But great for the Envision Virgin Racing team. Big race for Envision. They are a Chinese company, so this and Sanya in 2 weeks' time will be a massive event for the team. Over 400 meters high, the ICC over there.
It's really something. And totally illuminated, top to bottom, at night.
Yeah, there's a clock at the top, isn't there? A big 4-digit 24-hour clock.
Right. When I say illuminated, it's like LED lights. It's like a gigantic television screen. It's really something else. Of course, Envision Racing has now put itself in position to sweep the Chinese doubleheader, if you will, in Hong Kong and Sanya. Well, here's a look at the provisional results. As far as we know at this point, Sam Bird picking up his 9th victory. Eduardo Mortara matches his career best finish in 2nd. Lucas de Grassi, a 29th career Formula E podium in 3rd, followed by Robin Freitz, Daniel Abt, Felipe Massa, Mitch Evans, Gary Paffett, Oliver Turvey, and Antonio Felix da Costa. Welcome points for most of those drivers, if not all of them, in the top 10 positions. Jose Maria Lopez, 11th. Tom Dillman, one of his best performances in a brief Formula E career, in 12th. And the rest down the list. Beautiful view of our racetrack emerging alongside Victoria Harbor and up on the Peak, as it's known locally. Very nice neighborhood indeed. It's hard to overstate the charms of Hong Kong, an amazing island, incredible buildings, welcoming people. Great place to visit. And the celebrations continue on and about our podium. All eyes will now turn to Sanya. Here's a look at the provisional Drivers' Championship points. Sam Bird moves into a, 18-point lead over Jerome D'Ambrosio. Lucas de Grassi up to 3rd. Antonio Felix da Costa down to 4th. Eduardo Mortara moves up in 5th at the expense of Robin Freitz. Mitch Evans, Daniel Abt, Pascal Wehrlein, Andre Lauderer, and Jean-Eric Verne. Alexander Sims, 12th spot over former champ Sebastian Buemi, and the rest down through 22nd place. In the Teams Championship, the provisional standings, Envision Virgin Racing with a 20, well, I'm no good at math, 20-plus points gap over Mahindra Racing, who came in as the series leaders. Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler up to 3rd, BMW I Andretti Motorsport down to 4th, 28 points. It suddenly came to me. Diaz Techeetah down in 5th. You too can take a ride on a traditional Chinese junk in Victoria Harbor. That boat up close is a beauty, I can tell you. So the rain held off, and the drought continues for ABB Formula E. We have yet to see rain on a race. Now let's have another look at that contact between Sam Bird and Andre Lauderer.
Well, that was it, coming down into the right-hander. And once again, you know, I'm getting some stick on social media for defending Bird, saying, you know, people saying it is a non-contact sport. And while I get that and I agree with that, contact happens, because if you want racing cars driving right together, It's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one. I see it from both sides, obviously, but we get so much close racing in Formula E. There was also a message I saw saying if that happened anywhere else on the track for any other position, it wouldn't be a talking point, is what some people say. So it really does divide opinion.
It was so critical to the eventual victory.
Yeah, and that's Sylvain Philippe on the left, the managing director of the team, and Chris Gorn, the technical director, on the right.
I mean, and blame is kind of an amorphous thing. Just because they're contact doesn't mean someone needs to be blamed and punished for it.
Exactly, and this is my big, I believe racing incidents exist. That sometimes no one's to blame, people are just racing and they bump into each other. It's not a ram, it's not a crash, it's not a block, it's just you want people racing together, they're going to be close. But anyway, that's obviously my personal point of view, and not even as an ex-racing driver. Again, you know, we'll see what happens. But this is where Sam Bird made up a lot of his ground. He is the 7th car back on the left-hand side in the purple, gets a great start, goes past one car, then goes past Degrassi, and then gets on the brakes and goes around Gary Paffett, and then it's the next time around that he gets past Andre Lotterer. Down at the back, he gets a bit bumpy. And let's not forget, Bird threw the lead of the race away by outbraking himself into Hong Kong station. This is on board from Degrassi. Look at Bird on the left. Here he comes. Poof.
And watch all the contact.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, front to back in the field, guys are banging into each other.
And I'm not saying that we should be ramming everyone in Formula E and that bumping people out of the way is okay and it turns into a sport where you're allowed to push or you're allowed contact. But I mean, I think that was contact there. Eduardo Mortara ruined the camera. Tom Dillon having to take the escape road. That was Nelson Piquet's contact. That's where he caused his damage that caused his to retire.
Broke his suspension. One of 7 cars out of this race, which may be an all-time ABB Formula E record.
But what a race.
Sorry, 8 officially out of the race. If you go 90% of the winner's distance, you are classified. But we had 8 DNFs.
Dario, we keep saying it. We say it at the beginning of every race. You can never, ever predict a Formula E race. That was special. It really was. Lots of controversial points to talk about, one in particular, but let's start at the beginning of the race. We talked earlier on to Oliver Rowland, and we said that he's really come alive in this race series. He's done exceptionally well, and you picked out that he's good at starting. Just talk us through it. He was so good.
Yeah, no, he really was, and it wasn't even that he had to be aggressive into turn 1, which we saw in Mexico City. He was so far ahead, he made such a great just getaway from the line that it was easy after that. And then he ran into his problems, obviously, but his start was great. I think he's got a bright future. He's had a couple of issues, but here's the race start. You see Oliver's, he's gone. But then look at Sam Bird around the outside, and he did such a great job making up places there. But then as they come up to turn 2 as well, he did a really good and really aggressive maneuver on Andre Lotterer. We see Lucas Degrassi, kind of wheel spin on the cars in front. Again, the instant torque of the electric motor. There goes Sam Bird, all locked up. Look at all the contact around. You're seeing everybody sort of bashing into each other. And then Sam managed to from here, he made a really good move in turn 3 with Lotterer at the start.
Well, let's take a look at Lotterer overtaking Bird, because this was a mistake made by Sam, which allowed Lotterer to get to the front of the pack. Let's take a look at that, Dario, and talk us through what Sam did wrong, which enabled Lotterer to get in front of him.
Yeah, you don't give Lotterer. He just outbraked himself. At that point, Vernon, this part is still kind of damp, and all those painted lines are like ice. And then obviously that's the incident at the end. But when Sam lost the lead, he just outbraked himself. Right there.
Let's talk about this. What do you think? As a former driver, Dario, what do you think?
I've been both those people. I've been the guy getting hit, and I've been the guy doing the hitting. When I've been the guy doing the hitting, sometimes like that, you didn't mean to do it. It's not like he did it on purpose. the same point, if you're Andre Lotterer, you're like, well, I just got taken out of the lead of the race. I don't know. We're having such great racing here, but contact has become part of it because the cars are racing so closely together.
And also the tracks are so small.
Yeah, I don't know how you police it. I don't know how you police it correctly. We've seen worse than that get away with no penalty this year. But that's cold comfort for Andre Lotterer.
It's completely split the paddock, 50-50. A lot of people are saying it should be a disqualification. A lot of people are saying it's fine. Let's take a look at some more of the highlights of today's race.
The Hong Kong E-Prix grid was absolutely packed. You could barely move on there until it began to clear, and then the drivers were able to finally get in their cars once Naomi Campbell and all the other celebrities like Liam Payne had decided to leave the grid and watch the race from afar. At the start of the race, Oliver Rowland in the Nissan made a brilliant start, getting into the lead. Sam Bird in the purple Envision Virgin Racing going around the outside on the rough out to turn one, locking up everywhere, but managed to gain a few places. Stoffel Van Dorn slotted into second position. The two Dragons came together. Another look at the start shows the great getaways for Rowland and the two Dragon cars coming together further back in the pack. On the bottom right there, Felipe Nasr out of control, bangs into the back of Jose Maria Lopez. This was Lucas de Grassi's view of the start. Piling into the first corner at Tamar Park. But once the frantic first lap had been resolved, there was good battling. Alexander Sims went straight on, as did Jean-Eric Verne. That sent the two of them down to the back of the field. But then Felipe Nasr's broken car crashed into the wall, and the two Mahindras, Wehrlein and then D'Ambrosio, had nowhere to go but out of the race. That brought out the red flag. And when racing got back underway, Oliver Rowland, we believe, hit the speed limit button in his car, and that brought him to a halt. This was the view from Sam Bird, as Oliver Rowland suddenly slowed and Bird inherited the lead of the race. But then, coming down into Hong Kong Station, the right-hander, Bird went straight on. That allowed Andre Lotterer to move up into first place. Gary Paffett did the same, losing out to Eduardo Mortara. What followed was a fascinating battle for the lead, with Mortara in front, with Lotterer in front, being chased down by Sam Bird. Oliver Rowland was getting forceful, pushing his way up the inside of Daniel Abt. That's a brilliant shot. But still, the Techeetah and the Envision couldn't be split. Alexander Sims hit the wall coming out of turn 5. That put pay to the Englishman's race. Lotterer made a mistake coming through the right-hander. They then went side by side towards the chicane, but Bird backed out. Didn't want to get involved in a needless collision with Lotterer after all. Robin Fries was on the attack. And that ended Sebastian Buemi's race. He picked up damage, and the Swiss was out. Stoffel Van Dorn had a drive shaft problem. That put an end to his race, having started on pole position. Oliver Rowland picked up damage. He was out of the race as well. That meant it was a last lap sprint to the flag, with Lucas de Grassi trying to pass Eduardo Mortara for third place. But Mortara, in the end, kind of joined the battle for the lead. Bird went for it. There was contact. That caused the puncture for Andre Lotterer. And coming around the right left-hander, the tyre let go, and he slipped back down the field, and his race was run. Bird took the lead and held on to take victory for the second season in a row. It was an impressive drive from Bird, but the discussion, the debate about the contact with Andre Lotterer will run and run as he came through the final corner to see the checkered flag once more. And a victory for Bird, with Mortara second, de Grassi third. Muted celebrations because Lotterer limped back round to finish in 14th place. But Sam Bird pulled up in P1. Lotterer, very disappointed, returned to his DS Techeetah garage. Sam Bird victorious in Hong Kong though, and that moves him to the top of the Drivers' Championship. A really impressive drive. And the winner of the 2019 HKT Hong Kong E-Prix. And the next race, round 6, will be coming up in China in 2 weeks' time. And he'll be looking for another victory there, Sam Bird. And everybody who retired today will be looking for a little bit of a recovery drive. It's going to be a fascinating championship battle. Sam Bird just took control of it.
And once again, here's a look at the provisional results here in round 5. Sam Bird with his 9th career victory over Eduardo Mortara and Lucas de Grassi. Robin Freins makes it a good points haul for Envision Virgin Racing, while Daniel Abt does the same for Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler. Felipe Massa up into the points for Venturi, along with teammate Eduardo Mortara. How things have changed at ABB Formula E from previous years. Outside the points, Jose Maria Lopez leads the parade, and then 8 drivers who failed to see the checkered flag. In the championship, Sam Bird now with an 18-point lead over Jerome D'Ambrosio, with Lucas de Grassi in 3rd, Antonio Felix da Costa 4th, and Eduardo Mortara moving up at the expense of Robin Freins. Mitch Evans climbs the ladder at the expense of Daniel Abt, followed by Pascal Wehrlein, who drops a few places from 5th, Andre Lauderer, and Jean-Eric Verne. In the team's championship, a fat 28-point lead, not a full race worth of points, we should point out. And this championship is going to be interesting all the way to the finish. Envision Virgin now at the top, displacing Mahindra Racing. Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler, the reigning series team champions, working their way up the ladder. BMW I Andretti now down in 4th place. Fast lap will be cold comfort for Andre Lauderer. He's standing by with Nikki Shields.
Well, Andre Lauderer, we really thought that today was going to be the day that you took your first win for the team. Clearly that hasn't happened. Sam Bird saying really it's just a racing incident, and his heart goes out to you. Yeah, what's your view?
Yeah, it doesn't help, man. My race is done, and hopefully his one too, because if they let that by, I don't know what we're doing out there, you know. I mean, I don't know what I could have done different, protected my position in a fair way. The race was fair up until that point, but that's what you would call a disgusting move, because it's not really the way we should race. And yeah, so I lost it, thanks to him. So yeah, no need to start crying or anything, then look ahead to the next race. I mean, yeah, I almost started to believe I could do my first race win. It's been time coming, but gotta keep on pushing.
Well, he is still under investigation, so only time will tell.
Yeah, well, even if they disqualify him or give him a penalty, my race is done. So honestly, it's just sad.
Well, Andre, thanks for talking to us. It was a great battle, and we enjoyed watching it.
Dario, it's interesting what Andre Lauderer was saying there, that, you know, his race is done, his race is finished, it was Sam's fault, he bumped into me, which ended my race. Like I said before, opinion is very, very split in the paddock right now, you know.
We've had how many people have we had coming by here saying, oh, it was him, it was him, it was him.
Everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got an opinion, and let's just recap what you think, because like you said, you've been there, you've been the guy that's been bumped into, but you've also been the guy who's done the bumping.
And I would like, these things, it's great to take a position and say, this guy was at fault. I've been both, I can see both sides of this argument. If I'm Andre Lauderer, I am furious with Sam Bird right now for taking me out of the race. If I'm Sam, I'll say, well, I've seen so much worse go unpunished. Where's the rules? So I'm glad I'm not the steward. I'm glad I'm not.